Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Midnite Snak podcast, where we have the goods to keep you up at night. With me today, as always, is Austin. Say hello.
What up, bitch?
Also, apparently, we now have a mutual someone that you used to play baseball with, but they worked with us for a time and then no longer work with us. But anyway, that's too much to get into. And behind the camera is you heard him. You heard him, obviously. Do you know a guy by the name of Corey?
Corey.
Yeah.
Baseball. Sounds familiar.
Dark hair.
Okay.
Like pretty much black hair.
Corey.
When I first saw him, I think I thought he was Hispanic a little bit.
God, it's been
I know
so
you're
long.
watching. Somehow he recognized you, so.
Really?
Yeah, well, you're not really an easy face to forget, which we'll get into later.
Uh-oh.
You remember the conversation we had right after the podcast that I wish we captured? You kept asking me, like, really fucking deep questions.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, well, you know how God, like, it said 7 days, like, and then we went into that fucking conversation. Do you want to rehash that?
We can.
Okay. Do you remember it?
That's when I walked away.
Yeah, you fucker.
I was so tired.
Yeah, I kind of remember. Like, I remember my questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to feel more natural if you ask it.
Okay. So, what I basically asked Brandon was, like, do you think that time has, like, the Earth is, like, what is it, 2021, or, like...
Okay, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
How old do you actually think this planet was? And also, like, do you think it's... And I was also, like, referring to, like, dinosaurs and, like, also, like, when they say, like, oh, they were 50 million years, you know, ago is when they roamed the world. And it's like... Okay, but in Bible aspect,
Yeah, but
like,
how do you...
Like, how do you
prove it?
Yeah, like, how accurate is there, was basically what I asked Brandon, because he's pretty knowledgeable, and I was like, how do you know, like, that's accurate, or is it accurate? And I was kind of, like, asking that in a sense.
And, in fact, there's one thing that I didn't clarify. I'm not sure that the dinosaur bones that they put together are actually from dinosaurs. Because they'll be like, oh, this is a hip bone, and this is the skull, and this is this, but they put it all together, and then some archaeologists have come through and actually analyzed the composition of the bones, not even close to the same species. But because archaeologists put it together that way, you would think, oh, that's what a T-Rex looks like. It's like, well, maybe not.
I mean, I think there's
and
been,
they've never found a complete T-Rex skull.
Yeah, it's always been like one half, or yeah.
So it's like, is it? And plus, I remember this was a meme a while ago, but I think it's true. That's not a good way to start any bit of information, but they sent in a hippopotamus skull, an elephant skull, and like a dog skull, and they made a 3D representation of what it looked like. Nowhere near. They didn't know it was a hippo, but what they came up with it, completely off.
Really?
Yes. So it's like, okay, did dinosaurs exist? I don't fucking know. I don't care that much anyway. Yeah. Jurassic Park's pretty cool.
Right.
But as far as like the age of the Earth, I think I remember telling you, I don't really care, but as far as how it works, or at least how they find proof, the first way, and it kind of breaks down to the second way, is it's something called carbon dating. It's where...
That I do know.
So carbon is an element in the periodic table, and every element in its core has an atom or it is an atom, but it has a nucleus and then it has electrons floating around it. Kind of like a solar system in a way. So the electrons kind of go around where the protons and neutrons are. Sometimes an atom like carbon can have more than one isotope, which basically means in a normal atom of carbon, it will have 6 neutrons and 6 protons and 6 electrons. So it'd be carbon 12 is what it's called, because you have the 6 and 6. The electrons are just their own thing. But if you have 6 protons, 6 neutrons, it's 12. There's also an isotope called carbon 14. It has 2 extra neutrons. And this isotope is actually very unstable, meaning that over time it'll diminish in its composition over time. So how they do this, and I'll try my best to explain it in a dumbed down version the best way I can, because whenever you learn it in chemistry, they make it so fucking complex when it's actually pretty fucking easy. So let's say you have something that you make new for the first time, like a clay pot.
Mm-hmm.
That has a certain percentage of carbon-14. It's pretty standardized. Every time you make a clay pot, it'll always have a certain amount of carbon-14 to a certain number of carbon-12 at a ratio. As time goes on, the ratio of carbon-14 goes down because you lose carbon-14 over time. And how they're able to estimate the age of an object is they figured out what the half-life is, just basically the time it takes for carbon-14 to go from its 100% in that whatever it was to 50%. That's how long it took. And that's the same amount of time to go from 100 to 50% and 50% to 25% of its total and then 12. And they'll just keep doing that. So the half-life of carbon-14, and I looked it up because I don't remember, is about 5,730 years.
Okay.
But because the composition of carbon-14 in brand new things isn't very high, they can only really calculate things, I believe, as far back as 14,000 years with carbon dating. And the reason you can't do it any further back than that is because the amount of change that happens is so minimal that it could be 14,000 years or it could be 300,000 years. You would have no idea because it eventually reaches a normal level where it's going to be that amount no matter how old it is. How they're able to determine the age of the Earth, and this is where I think the science kind of gets a little scanty because how do you know with uranium? So they take uranium, which I believe naturally is in like 232, and there's an isotope 235, which has a certain composition, like I said, when it's first formed. And I'm assuming they took like a refined uranium and they tried to see how much isotope was in that to basically extrapolate. That's how much it was at the very beginning. I think that if it's just off by a small fraction, you have the age of the Earth off by millions of years. It's like it's more of a rough estimate, I would say, as far as the 4.3 billion years. It could be, I think the percent error would probably put it, it'd still be probably at least 1 billion years old by their calculations at the like closest to us end versus the furthest would be like 8. But anyway, that half-life of uranium-235 is about 703 million years, which I still haven't figured out how they figure that, because you know on a graph how it kind of come down at a slope. It's like, where on the slope are you, and then how can you calculate how much? Yes, it was just confusing whenever I went through it. I tried to ask as many questions as possible. I was still fucking confused at the end. So yeah, to be honest, I remember when answering that question, I'm like, it doesn't really fucking matter.
No, it doesn't, but it's just...
Well, and if anything, it's like, wouldn't it be easier for human beings to believe that God exists if it was the other way? It's like, wouldn't you think that God, not like intentionally trying to make sure that you don't know of his existence, but he's not going to make it easy.
No.
Not like, oh, well, we've determined that it's this old. It's well, that must mean that God must exist, or at least that leads you to a conclusion that might be possible because it at least is in a document. Whereas if it's very, very old, now you have calculation, like, is it not? And now you have to use your own free will and your faith to actually establish whether or not God exists. Whether or not the Earth is 4 billion years old, or I think they put like 24,000 years old, I don't really give a shit. Yeah. So that was pretty much the conversation we had.
Yeah,
and then
in a sense,
right after that, I remember you walked up to me, and you didn't walk up to me. We were right next to each other. What the fuck am I kidding? I'm just trying to think. Where were we? We were over here. Yeah, we were just right after the podcast. And you brought up the fact that there is this news reporter that looked a lot like a chimp. And like a non-racist way.
I said that has like facial features.
Yeah. For me, I was like, Ron Perlman looks like an ape. So Justin, if you could look up Ron Perlman while we continue to have the conversation, just show a picture of Ron Perlman. He looks like an ape. And to be honest, he kind of deserves to be called looks like an ape. He's white, by the way, so it's not racist in any way. And he's a bit of an asshole. As far as I've learned, he's a bit of a fucking asshole. But anyway, he brings up this news reporter. He brings up a news reporter, and I look her up, and then we start getting into the conversation of how faces look. How faces can sometimes look similar or dissimilar, how you can tell two faces apart. And then also, I think you have this too, where you have a hard time forgetting a face.
Yeah.
Like if you see someone walking down the road and you recognize them, but you don't know where they're from, but you have that sense like, I have that all the fucking time. 3 days ago, while at Domino's, Justin, you'll know who he is. He was obviously getting an order for Domino's, and I look him in the eyes, and it was like, I recognize him, but I had to go grab something, and I come back, and I ask his last name. It's like, is your last name this? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, man, hey. It's like, I can see you recognize me too, kind of. It was Cody from Boy Scouts.
Oh.
Yeah, the one that hang out with Daniel. Is
Yeah,
that Cody? Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, he came in, and I was like, so much fucking facial hair, which I trimmed down a little bit for the show today,
Yeah,
although
I
it
can
was
see
before
that.
the show. Look a little bit younger. He has so much facial hair, but I could still tell who he was. And I know you probably had moments like that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where you're like, where the fuck are they from?
Well, there was one where I did not remember them at all. I was at Pierce College, and I didn't go there, but I went to their library, and or their, computer room. It's their library, and I think. But anyways, I was like going on looking for jobs, and there's this kid that came up to me, and he was younger a little bit, and he was like, "Hey, Austin, how are you doing?" I was like, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I just said, this is literally what came out of my mouth. I was like, who the fuck are you? Because he did not look. I did not know this person. Like, he did not trigger a memory, and normally I don't really forget a face, but like, nowhere in my memories did he pop up. And I looked at him, and I was like, who the fuck are you? And I thought I said it inside, because I said that in my head, but I also said it out loud. And he was like, whoa, dude, I don't remember you having a mouth like that. And I was like, oh shit.
Well, he's from church.
I was like, either from co-op or church. Fucking A.
Hey, at least you narrowed it down in that moment.
Yeah, I did. And then I was like, dude, I don't remember where do I know you from? He was like, co-op. And I was like,
fuck. You one of the fuckers that beat me up?
no, I remember one of them.
Yeah, true.
Oh no. But that was really fucking awkward. And then it was just kind of like silent after that. And then I was like, all right, I gotta leave. And he was like, okay. That was it. And I was like, fuck, they're probably gonna go back to their mom and be like, guess who I ran in today?
Austin, and
he has the worst potty mouth.
He said, who the fuck are you?
Oh, I'm calling his mother.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's like, God. Yeah.
Your mom would back you up, I'm sure.
Probably.
Well, your kid deserved it. I learned probably like a couple months ago that most people can only retain about 20% of the faces that they look at. Like,
Really?
most people, the average.
I mean, when I'm at a store, there's a few people that I'm like, I've seen them.
yeah.
Wait, he was at Walmart when I saw
But I
them,
think
but I never knew
There's
him.
people like us, and they defined it, that remember at least 90+% of the
Yeah.
faces that they see. I'm one of those people, and I was like, how do you forget a face? It's like, it's so easy, but it's so intuitive for me, so I couldn't understand it.
It depends. If I'm
I can't remember
if I'm
names. for
zoning
shit.
out. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if someone told me their name and then I come back like the next day and they're like,
Yeah.
hi Austin, and I'm
And you're like, I don't have the mental
I don't
capacity.
remember your name.
Oh,
but I can remember.
Hi, bud.
Yeah, like I can remember almost anything else that we talked about.
Yeah.
But their name,
Names.
fucking blank.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's always been a fucking struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can second that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only
It's not fun.
The only time where I can't tell faces apart is when it's identical twins. That's the only fucking time I can't tell a face apart. But I've seen like multiple social media like posts where I don't click on it, but it's like in the you're scrolling and it's the first thing you see, and it's always like, these people are look-alike, and I look at both of them. The only similarities they have is they're blonde and white, and I look at them like, blue eyes, brown eyes,
Yeah.
thick eyebrows, thin eyebrows. How the fuck do they look the same? It's like, really, you got to look at the facial characteristics.
Yeah.
I
You
think.
gotta look at the bone structure.
Yeah. And
Like they could have similar features.
I underlined it for you. Just look them up for right now, because they're a good example of identical
I
twins.
haven't showed the screen yet.
Yeah, I know, but it's a specific
Oh,
twin
yeah,
group.
yeah,
Yeah. They're funny as hell too. But I'll have it multiple times where people say they don't look the same, whereas I could see that they look very similar. But they're always looking at the hair. That's what I've noticed. People look at the hair way too much. It's like, that's the one thing that can change between two people,
Yeah.
look very similar, but they don't look anything alike. It's like just because of the hair.
Bro, I went bowling yesterday, and
Without me?
when I was walking in, there was this mom and her son coming out, and her son had red, flaming, long, curly hair, like exactly like mine, and I just like looked at him. I was like, "You're gonna be great one day." Like I that's what I was literally thinking in my head. I was like,
hey, "You may have your father now, but he will. He's character development. Don't worry about it.
he's gonna leave you."
Adam projects that shit, motherfucker. Oh God, my fucking my mustache hair got stuck in the mic. Fucking suck.
No, but he even looked like a younger me, and I was like, this is legit.
Nice.
Like, this is legit. This is awesome.
All right, do we have like a picture that we can like pop up of the Hodge twins?
Where was it? It was a perfect one too. Where'd it go?
So they're identical twins that are biracial. They have like hazel eyes and very
apparently they're ripped.
fucking attractive dudes, but you can't tell the difference between them. The only difference that they mostly have is one is more expressive and the other one is a little bit more tame. But they look so fucking similar. And, of course, as identical twins... That's a good image. Show that image. Show that image.
I already am.
Okay. It's the same person. He's just kissing himself.
In a mirror.
What is it with identical twins? Why do they have to have the same haircut, the same clothes, the same fucking style? Why? Why can't one be skinny and one be fat? Why do they both have to be ripped? And why do they both have to have the same fucking haircut?
I did not know they're that ripped.
No, they're fucking huge. Now this is back in the day a little bit. They're still about that.
That
big,
low key looks like roids though.
Yeah, maybe.
Like maybe not there,
No,
but in certain pictures.
I
It
can't.
could be.
Justin,
legit.
did you click the auto tune again?
No.
No.
Okay, I just sounded weird to me.
Yeah. I like how there's Cardi B. Just one picture.
One picture of Cardi B. Well, it's
Yeah, she's the
because
Hodge
she attacked the Hodge twins and they attacked her back. It was kind of funny.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah, worth it. But that was another conversation we had, and I remember even pulling up a picture of like two similar chimps right next to each other because I challenged him to the idea that I could tell the difference between even two chimps' faces because they're dissimilar in a way. Why are you looking at us?
He was looking at me.
No.
You throw me off.
Anyways, continue.
Okay. Anyway, and I remember pulling up that picture, and we don't have it now though. But we just had a good conversation afterward that I wish we had here. It would have been more natural if it just popped out of nowhere. But now I had to.
It's always always like afterwards where we have like really fucking funny moments. Or
it's when the camera's
shit.
off.
Yeah, honestly, it really is.
Yeah,
but
we don't feel beholden to the words that we say.
I need a fake in the stream, so you guys keep
Yeah,
talking,
yeah.
You don't even know.
Well, we will see it.
yeah, we would.
I'll
We
hide
would
it.
see it.
Okay, so the next topic we had. What time is it?
It's 4 a.m. Time to go.
Yeah.
It's 2:30.
We're a little bit ahead of schedule, so did you come up with a couple questions for later?
I did. I had them.
Hold them.
Okay, good.
Because we got a little bit longer.
I got to
So, for those of
them.
you who aren't blind to everything that goes on in the world, something special happened last Sunday. By something special, I mean the Oscars. And at the Oscars, we had a little bit of controversy. I can't say that fucking word. Where, if you didn't know, Will Smith walked up on stage and slapped Chris Rock in the face. I'm going to try to explain the scene as much as possible, give as much context, and I'm going to ask you questions about it.
Okay.
Because I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to read this. I'm sorry, but I have to read it because I don't remember all the details. So Chris Rock, at the very beginning, leads in with the joke saying, "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane, cannot wait to see you." This joke was referencing Jada Smith's short hair, which is Jada Smith is Will Smith's wife. And it was cut that short because she has... Or
Like
at
a
least
hair loss.
She
kind of.
proclaims to have alopecia, which is a condition in which you have patches of bald skin, really. Yeah, that. So G.I. Jane is a more famous movie with, I believe, it was a woman trying to become a Green Beret. So yeah, that's her current haircut. And apparently it got to her a little bit more, and I'll continue.
But it was funny because he was laughing at it.
Yeah, at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have like looked over and saw that it affected her, and then he was like,
and everyone thinks
no.
that, but the camera wasn't on them.
Yeah.
But after he tells the joke, and this is what I'm about to explain. The camera switches to Jada and Will. Will is noticeably laughing, whereas Jada's demeanor shifts from calm and comfortable to threatening and protective. Like, she's calm, and then she kind of leans forward, and she's staring, like, glaring at Chris Rock. And I think Will Smith, after the camera shifts, sees her and sees that she's not happy, and then decides to take action into his own hands for some reason. Let me find my place. And then the camera shifts right after that back to Chris Rock, and he's kind of laughing off the joke, explaining that's a calm joke, that's a good joke kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then right after he goes into that, he says, "Whoa, Richard!" And I don't know why he said Richard, because
actor. That's the name of the movie that he was in.
Richard.
That's what his name was in the movie.
Why did he immediately say "whoa"? I don't know why he said it.
Because he thought he was going to do something funny, probably.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
But he was like, "Whoa, Richard!" And then Will Smith, you can see him come into the frame if you haven't already watched it. And he's walking down, kind of like an on-ramp onto the stage, which I don't know why they had that, why the stage wasn't raised. But anyway, he walks all the way down, slaps him in the face, which Chris Rock, you can actually see in the scene. You can watch the video again. We won't pull it up because copyright issues. But in the scene, when he gets slapped with his hands behind his back, he gets slapped, and you can kind of see his right hand is about to clench into a fist, but he lets go right before anything happens, and no one noticed it, but his right hand actually goes into a fist like he was about to pop him back in the mouth, and he realized, I know where I am, I'll just walk it off kind of thing. It's like, we don't need that on TV. And then...
I'd love to have seen that, though.
That would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that would have been great.
And of course, Chris Rock's, wow, dude, wow. And then Will Smith, after he sits down, he's, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." And he does that twice. And then, of course, you have an awkward moment where Chris Rock has to reel back in the audience by going, "Well, that's going to be a big point on TV," kind of thing. Like, that's the biggest TV moment. So, my first question, because that's the whole scene. Mm-hmm. Is it okay to hit a performer or a comedian on stage? And if so, when?
I mean, I think it's... I feel like...
I mean, if it's a kid, obviously, walk up and smack them in the face when they're acting up.
Just chuck them.
Yeah.
They're so puntable.
Yeah, but if it's Chris Rock, no, I draw a line.
But in all seriousness, I mean, if I was in that situation, I feel like the person that I'm with wouldn't take offense to it. I understand that no one is me.
Yeah.
But... like, I'm attracted more to people that are similar in that aspect, that, like, I don't have to walk
unless
around
you get blindsided,
eggshells.
like with A. So
right,
yeah.
But
So if she was sitting there, she would have done that.
I mean,
shit.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
she would have.
Yeah.
She would have gotten so offensive, and
yeah.
Then she would have looked at me, and then I would have done fucking nothing because I thought it was funny. And I'm like, he wasn't coming at you. He was just telling a fucking joke.
It was a lighthearted joke to kind of get the mood up. Yeah. It's like, that's his job as a comedian.
Yeah.
You got to be okay. And especially when you're in the front row. So if you go to a comedy show, as Justin has, and you sit in the front row and you're as tall as Justin is,
you're gonna
get fucking slapped, okay? And you better be ready for it. If you can't handle it, sit in the fucking back of the show. If you can't handle it, don't sit in the front. So you're gonna say no. So there's not a good point where you walk up on stage and you.
I wouldn't walk on. No, I would wait until afterwards and then maybe be like, hey. Just so you know, like, that wasn't all right, but I understand you're a comedian.
Yeah.
I get it, but, like, that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just go up there and be like, bah! As much as I may want to, if it was something actually, like, horrible, but that wasn't horrible.
But the cameras are rolling, baby!
But that wasn't horrible. Because I don't want to put them in a bad light because they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
And
they have to risk being offensive. That's the job of a comedian.
Exactly.
If they're not risking being offensive, they're not funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, I wouldn't have done that, and even if it.
So I think I know how you'll answer this question. Then was it a chivalrous act?
No.
Why?
Because he
was going up on stage, obviously because of his wife's behest. Is that chivalry to do that, like to stand up for your wife?
Right. I understand that part, But he could have just said, "Hey, man, that wasn't okay." That's all he had to have said.
True. Yeah.
His point would have been across.
Yeah.
Right then and there. He didn't have to go up and slap him. And also, a slap is more humiliating than a hit. Like a punch.
Not really, because Chris Rock, he took it well.
He took it, but that's
he
like
took it
demeaning
so fucking
to a man.
well to get slapped in the face, and you don't instinctively like put your hand up to your face like it stings. You just kind of put your hands back and you continue on with the show. And the amount
he took it like a champ,
he
but I'm
shifted like this and he came right back like he was ready to fucking slap him too. But oh man, he took it like a fucking champ.
No, he
it
did.
probably didn't hurt that bad because he went with it, but he still probably felt something.
I don't know how much he went with it, to be honest with you.
I watched it about like 10 times, and every single time I watched it, I noticed he kind of went with it. So in a way,
Which
it looked like,
most humans do. They're not going to be like super stiff and just let it fucking hit their head.
yeah.
I think it caught him way off guard. I didn't think he was ready. I thought
Well, he
maybe
was
Will
laughing.
Smith was going to come up, hug him, or do something stupid.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like actors do whenever at the Oscars, and he didn't think he was going to get fucking slapped. Because when you're on stage like that, at that big of a stage, lights are just beaming right at you. You can see the person walking up to you, but you cannot see their face at all. He was trying, and you can kind of see him lean forward a little bit because he's trying to see Will Smith's face. He's like, is he angry? Is he happy? Is he upset? That kind of thing. He's trying to see it, and he couldn't see it in time before he got slapped because it's just a dark silhouette. And that's not racist, by the way. It's just that's how it works. Even if someone like me and my complexion walks up, you can't see my face because there's so much light behind me, and I'm silhouetted. So it's like, anyway.
But I don't think it was necessarily chivalrous.
I would tend to agree with you because I have further information. So, did the joke warrant a slap?
No.
Yeah, that was a
By
pretty easy
no
question.
means.
Yeah, I was
Any
like,
joke, in my opinion, as a comedian, doesn't warrant
It's fair game.
a joke that is not okay.
I'm
A
sorry.
joke that is literally just targeted at someone to make them feel like shit. Yes.
Yeah.
Like if I
But
go
I
up to
didn't-
you
I
and I
didn't-
make an overt joke that's not funny, but I make a joke to smear you or stab you in some way, then yeah, you can fucking hit me because I was being passive aggressive.
They're being a bully by that point.
Yeah. So there are times I wouldn't slap a comedian. I would just
Yeah.
talk to them after and like, hey
Yeah.
man, stop being an asshole. Like that's all you have to do. They understand for the most part what that is. Now if they come back to you and they start yelling at you and they're being super like vindictive, then that's when you pop them right in the
Yeah.
mouth because
Yeah, then they
you need
deserve
to be
it.
corrected. Bitch
Yeah.
slap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Further explanation needs to be done before I can ask you the next question. So,
Okay.
recently, meaning a couple years ago, Will and Jada made a video on YouTube about them opening up about an open
Yeah.
relationship.
I knew about that.
And her saying that she got into a recent entanglement, and then Will Smith saying that's terrible. Wow, on the fucking episode, if you watch back, it was like 2-3 years ago. So now they've proclaimed an open marriage.
Well, if I may cut in, it probably made him feel like he was
And okay, wait,
less
because so
Okay.
Will and she have discussed it and decided that they have an open marriage. Do you think this open marriage was a mutual decision?
No.
I don't either. You want to know why? Look at Will Smith. Does he have
Yeah.
someone? No. Think. Will Smith, do you think he can't get pussy day one if he wanted to? He could have.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wants to remain faithful to his wife, but his wife is going around sleeping with other guys. It's like, that's not a mutual decision.
Yeah.
If it was mutual, they would both be fucking everybody. That's not an open marriage.
Yeah.
He wanted to say that it's an open marriage to try to hold on to his wife in some way, I think, because he's like, I don't want to let you go because I love you, but
Yeah.
she doesn't love him any. That's so, oh my God.
Yeah. And
That's
I think
emotionally-
that was more of a defense.
I think like of him.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to defend himself, like
Yeah.
because, and I think. Okay, here's the next question: is Will trapped? Do you think Will's trapped in the marriage? So
I mean, to an extent, I think it's more him trapped himself.
I really think that she is some way emotionally manipulating him.
I mean, no offense, but women have a tend to do that.
Speaking from experience,
I am speaking
he
from
is not me.
experience.
I only have one, and
Yeah.
she loves me. I love her. And if she got a joke like that, she wouldn't have been like,
But it can be very. That could be a two-way street. Guys are very manipulative as
They
well.
can be.
Manipulative
They definitely
as
can
well. So both definitely know the craft very well.
So do you think he's trapped?
In my own opinion, I think it's more.
I want to say yes, sure. Because he trapped himself because of his own emotional ties to her, but I think that she is egging it on.
Probably.
So I think, in a way, he's trapped where he's at because, in his reality, he's like, if I divorce her, I lose the house, I lose the kids, I lose my money.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks I'm an asshole. Mm-hmm. And I probably won't get another fucking acting job. I think he's stuck because he knows if he divorces her, she has so much power on her side that he may not even be relevant again ever. And now he doesn't have any money or any relevance and he won't be able to see his kid. I'm like, that dude's probably fucking trapped.
That's fair. I haven't really, fully thought about that. But I mean, his kids are all older.
Yeah, I believe they're all in their 20s, but even then you'll lose the respect of your kids once you do that.
I mean,
and it's like
to an extent. Yes.
How much do you value that?
Yeah.
And I think he values it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Will Smith seems like a pretty
He seems cool.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty good guy.
Unless he slaps you, but
yeah.
Okay. Do you think this open marriage that has likely led to Will Smith's feeling of emasculation, which is contributed to his outburst at the Oscars?
Probably somewhat, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember people making jokes.
That's what I was going to say.
Jokes that he should have been like, he would slap people for is, so people can have sex with your wife, but they can't, they better not make a joke about her hair. It's like, I don't remember who made that joke. Obviously, everyone came out right at the very beginning. It's like, okay, sleeping with your wife, fine, but not making a joke about her.
There was so many memes right after.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking bad.
It was pretty good, though.
And you can see that probably actually further fuels his emasculation in some way.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the video. It's like, it looks like he was trying to cry really bad, and he just doesn't look like in a good spot. So, with all that being said...
Mm-hmm.
What would your advice be if you could give it to Will around everything? Open marriage, slapping, all that stuff. What would be advice that you would give him?
Well, I mean, if I was sitting down one-on-one with Will and I had that much power...
If you had that opportunity that you could just give him a piece of advice, what would you say?
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Is the life that you're living really worth it to be stuck miserable? Even if you do lose the car, the money, the wife, it's like, wouldn't you rather just be happy?
Yeah.
So do what's best for you. You got to not think about, yes, you're in the public eye, but you chose to be in the public eye, knowing that shit could come up like this.
Yeah.
So you just have to, as tough as it is, you have to make that sacrifice of, well, yeah, everything could go to shit, but my well-being and my happiness means more to me than, what other people think. So at a point, like I'd probably just say like something like that. I'd just be like, you got to make sure like you spend this time on this earth like is
it's sparing. So make sure to spend it correctly.
Yeah,
because you'll regret it when you get older.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good piece of advice.
I mean, that's of course there would be a lot more, but
yeah.
And to sum it up, that would probably be it.
I don't typically advocate for divorce, but I think in this case, if she's not willing at all, pun intended, I guess, she's not willing at all to concede some territory when it comes to the idea of the open marriage, it's not a marriage anymore. If she wants to go around and sleep with everybody, it's not a marriage anymore. She made a commitment to you, not to that fucking other guy. You're supposed to be exclusive. That's one of the things of marriage. You're supposed to be mutually exclusive to your partner. The second you go sleeping off with, it's not a marriage. Yeah. So don't act like it's one. And I think even in the Bible, there's one clause like if your wife or husband is being unfaithful to you constantly or mistreating you in some way, you can get a divorce. And I don't think God will view it in a negative light. Like if your husband's beating you, it's like, leave. God's not like, well, if you leave, you're going to hell. Take the slap, bitch. I don't know why I made him gay, but but there are times where it's like, I think this marriage is pretty much over, and the longer that Will stays in it, the more disillusioned he's going to be. And whenever you do that to
he's only going to just hurt himself even more.
And when you do that to a guy, he becomes very violent very quickly or hyper depressed. It's one or the other, and I think he's gone hyper depressed more than violent. Although now we see on stage that he is a little bit more.
He
violent.
has a violent outburst, but
yeah.
I mean,
can add his wife's behest, and if I had advice, okay, I didn't write it down here, but I have another question. If you had something to say to Jada, what would you say?
Grow up.
I would be a little bit more explicit than that.
I mean, if you said I do, you said all these things. If you didn't want to be, if you had this, thought, maybe even like going in, but just suppressed it, and now you're like, oh, I can get my way because whatever.
Yeah.
Like, for one, you should be ashamed of yourself, and two, like, I had a really good thing, but
What I think is the really shitty thing surrounding the open marriage is it came out that she slept with someone else and now they have an open marriage.
I mean,
because he had to compromise to her because she would have just fucking left.
And also, don't
open up about
don't
that.
ever compromise to something like that.
No,
it's not worth it.
No,
in the long run, like it's like in that moment, I can understand the compromise. Like your immediate thing is like, I love you, I want to keep you.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do? Like this,
okay.
You should not be doing any compromising. No. If anything, they should be compromising to you.
Yes. They should be begging for forgiveness, and you have them there. You set the boundary to what you allow them to now be as a part as your relationship. If they ask for forgiveness and God, like they're actually asking for forgiveness, I'd say give them a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that is always going to arise when this happens is you will never trust them again.
Yeah.
It'll take decades before you even have an inkling of, nope, that's not there anymore. They're different. It'll take a long time before you're ready for that. And you have to be willing to sacrifice that idea to be in the marriage together. And that forgiveness is fucking hard. But I think in that moment, if they're actually repentant of that action that they did, then yes, I'd say take them back in, give them a second chance. But if they do it 3-4 more times, you need to leave because they're using you in a way that they have you emotionally kept there. They're using you because they know that in the end, if all those other guys leave them, they have you.
Yep. You're a backup plan.
They're keeping you as a backup plan just in case something happens to them. They're not attractive anymore and they can't go out and find another guy, which, to be honest, women can find any guy, even if she's a whale. Just go to a bar and hope for the best. Like you find a guy that is just drunk off his ass or really loves that fat ass. But
have you ever seen that guy talk to like a bunch of women in the room? And it's like a podcast.
It's a social experiment.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
And he talks about how guys that sleep around are not, how do you say that? Whores, or he not in that aspect.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then he explains why.
Lock and key.
Yeah. Yep.
If you have a whole bunch of keys that unlock one lock,
but if you have
then that lock's not very good because everyone has the key to unlock the lock. However, if you have the key that can unlock all the locks, then you have the master key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's like he turns
You're still
it
a
on.
whore.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he turns it on the women like hardcore. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Bro. Like,
but no, I saw another social experiment where they literally just had a guy like average in attractiveness go into a bar and just ask one question. Will you have sex with me? What do you think the response was 90% of the time? Actually, probably like 99.99999% of the time.
No.
Yeah. Woman does the same thing. Average attractiveness. Walks into a bar. You want to have sex with me. What do you think happens 999.99999% of the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the reason that in society, typically, a woman that sleeps around with a whole bunch of guys is considered a slut, whereas a guy that sleeps around with a whole bunch of women is seen as like a Chad or something like, oh, yeah, good for you. It's because the amount of work it takes for a guy to get a woman ready to actually sleep with him is significantly harder than the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just mild attractiveness, you walk up to any dude in a bar and you be like, you want to have sex? You'll have sex probably. I would say that, unless they're married, then maybe not. Or if they're just really socially awkward. But most of the guys there, maybe the first one's a fail. You go over to the next guy, he's a win. So then you're done. It's like It's not that hard.
Like, you're not going to walk out of that bar alone.
Yeah. A guy can't do
way.
the same thing. That tells you that there is a difference between the sexes when it comes to their sexual selectivity.
You have to be chosen. You can't choose.
Well, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
God forbid the girl gets pregnant. Now she can't do anything for 9 more months, and now she has to take responsibility for her child. Yeah. Whereas a guy, I don't get pregnant, so I can just do it to the next person, the next person, next person, next person. And you can see it in nature, too. Like with any male species, they either have to be really pretty or they have to fight really well, especially like hippos. You have to be the dominant hippo and kill the other fucking hippo, or at least make him run off with wounds before you can get all the bitches.
Yeah. Like, you got to prove your worth.
Yeah. I'm not sure in nature if it's actually the opposite in any case. There's probably one or two.
No, you know what's funny? Like, most of the prettiest species are men.
Well, and like the reason they have to be because the females are the selective one.
Yeah. Like,
where
they
if
have
it was the opposite, it would be the opposite. Yeah. And I remember my mom telling me that and why she thinks that, or at least back then. She was like, men are more naturally attractive, whereas women can use makeup and make themselves appear as more attractive. But she's like, men typically have longer eyelashes. They typically have facial structures that are at least more attractive because they have to be a set way in order to find a mate. Now, there are some guys out there, don't get me wrong, but there's also some girls out there, don't get me wrong. But because the women are the ones that are sexually selective, I think in some way you can say that the natural, and that's what my mom was getting at, the natural attractiveness of guys might be a little bit higher than girls. Not by much, I don't think. Because I think we're also very social creatures, so you can have a guy who's really ugly but very fucking funny get into someone's pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not purely visual, whereas with birds, it's all visual. Or it's a dance, or it's something
Even
else.
with spiders. Have you ever seen the jumping spider?
Well, and the female's always the biggest of the two. Yeah. The female's bigger than the male, which is rare, actually. Typically, the male's always bigger than the female. There's some instances like spiders where that's the opposite. I think praying mantis is the other one. Because I know they eat the head of their sexual partner sometimes. Not always, but it's because they want a snack. No, they're fucking killing him. If they wanted a snack, they just bite off his leg. Like, why the fuck go for the head?
You shall never be with any woman other than me.
Exactly. I don't know why. I don't know why praying mantis do it. I think they're the most fucked up bug in the bug world.
Praying mantis?
Yeah.
I think spiders are.
They're fucking assassins. Praying mantis? Yeah. They kill everything.
They're awesome.
They kill everything.
They're awesome.
They'll kill a spider.
Yeah.
You're just like, gotcha, bitch, and just fucking eat its head first.
Have you ever
Actually,
seen
probably
the way
ass
they eat
first,
it?
knowing it. What?
Have you ever seen the way they eat food?
Spiders or
no,
praying mantis?
Praying mantis.
Yeah, they kind of
fucking legit.
They kind of like
they
the
bring it up
arms, and they kind of like use its fucking mouth to eat them. But yeah,
but it's almost like because I've fed them before. Like I've caught them in Idaho, and they're big.
Yeah,
and like they'll
so
eat
many
like
fucking
a full,
types.
They
too.
always eat the head.
Yeah.
Like, they'll eat up to the head to the chest, and they'll stop at the chest.
They do it while they're alive.
They're kind of humane.
Yeah.
That's kind of humane. Because at least not like a fucking spider where it twirls it up until it suffocates a little bit, and then they suck up the fucking guts.
Well, most of the time, they give them paralytic, and they paralyze them. Spiders?
Well, I mean, yes, it is paralytic, but it's still like you're having your gut sucked out. I'm pretty sure, even if you're paralyzed.
Like the process of that is they catch them in the web, they go in. Sometimes it depends on the spider, but they'll normally wrap them up so they can't move, and then they put a type of
that's to keep
them
to stop moving, but I don't know if that deals with pain.
It kind of sedates them.
Yeah,
and then those juices or the venom kind of then it dissolves and then they can go in and slurp it up.
That's so fucking gross.
I feel like the venom kills the bug pretty quickly.
It's like a drink.
It's paralyzed
I'm gonna get my mimosa,
and then they die because they suffocate. Basically,
fly mimosas are my favorite.
Have you ever seen that the pimp spider or the drug spider?
Oh, cocaine.
Yeah, the cocaine spider. Yeah. That is so fucking funny. Oh my god,
because it's making the web, and it's just a fucked up web going all over the place. Oh, it's so fucking hilarious. You can't play it though, which is unfortunate. But for those of you who are watching, just play it. It's fucking hilarious. Like
see that picture of the car?
They do a Q-tip.
The car on the very right. Yeah, that's part of the video.
Yeah. They do. They give the spider a Q-tip, and on that Q-tip, there's a set liquid with weed. Oh, Justin, the webs. Look at the webs, like the webs together. No. Black. So black background, white web. Not that one. Down that one.
There's so many.
Click on it.
There is.
So they actually did these experiments. So it's not just they actually gave the spiders these narcotics, I believe.
Mhm.
Don't exactly quote me because I
Normal.
don't trust this website.
LSD.
Yes. Marijuana, which you would think they wouldn't
Yeah.
even make a web.
Sleeping pills.
Yeah. Caffeine and then benzodrine. Oh, yeah. Yeah, go figure. Oh, yeah, that was the other part of that. Right after he slaps him, like 20 minutes later, he accepts Best Actor award, and his fucking speech... Nice.
I left the window open.
Speaking of bugs, he gives his speech, and he's like, I just want to, help people, and I want to be good for people kind of thing. It's like, you just fucking slapped someone, you cunt. It's like, really? I probably got demonetized there for using the word cunt, but whatever. It's like, really?
A lot of things.
Yeah, it's like he's an actor. He's obviously acting in that moment, but how do you not go up on stage like, no. You just walk up on stage, get the trophy, and sit your ass back down. In that moment, no, it's too fucking awkward to keep talking. Fucking ass. Okay, we got on a tangent.
We did.
What did we talk about before the fucking praying mantis? There was something.
We were talking about
Men and women.
Men and women. You were talking about
Before
experiment where we were talking about the experiments about males going into bars and then female going into bars.
Oh yeah.
saying,
Let me
will you
actually
have
bring it
sex?
back, way back to like what advice or what would I say to Jada?
Yeah.
You bitch. I mean it. You
Yeah.
bitch. You're a bitch, okay? I don't care how powerful you are. In fact, that actually negates the whole I'm upset with the joke. You're worth millions of dollars, and you were plucked out of obscurity because of Will Smith's fame. He decided to marry you because he loved you, and then decided that in that moment you would reward him with sleeping with someone else after your kids finally grow up and move out of the house, emotionally manipulating him into staying into the marriage. And whenever you're upset, you sick him on anyone that makes you upset because you can't fight your own fucking fight. I'm pissed, okay? Fuck you. It's like, I wouldn't hurt you because you're a woman, but I would say worse things than Chris Rock could ever fucking say. And he should have gone to town immediately after getting slapped. Go to town on Jada. Just keep joke after joke after joke after joke, because what a bitch.
Yeah.
Really, you can't take a fucking joke, but God, you can take 2 dicks in the ass. It's like, fucking whore. I think I'm done.
I love that you just calmed down right after. Tangent over.
I mean, if that was my wife in that situation, that's exactly what Will should be saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you should be saying. Your wife is openly cheating against you in public. You should be calling her a bitch, a whore, and leaving her immediately, and everyone should be on your side. But no, because of the prevailing fucking society we have, everyone's on her side. Oh, yeah, go queen. Fuck her.
Oh, man.
I can't imagine. I can't fucking imagine. Ashley tried the same shit with me. I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, we can do an open marriage. It's like, hell no. That's not a compromise. I'm not allowing that shit to happen. Oh, yeah, she's outside the door. She'll fucking agree with me. If I did that shit, cheat on her and be like, oh, we can have an open marriage. Now she fucking kicked me in the nuts. That's the proper response. You cheated on me and now you want an open marriage. Yeah, I'm going to compromise with you after you fucking cheated on me, you asshole. Ugh. And the only reason she wins is because she's a woman and not a man. If it was the reverse and Will Smith did that, she would have left him and everyone would have been on her side if she divorced him. But now, because he's stuck, and if he divorced her, he would not get any empathy from anybody. Except for maybe a few people like Joe Rogan or some people that aren't like with the prevailing society thing. But it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I
You
just
good,
had to get that off my chest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I didn't think I could have a sane conversation with someone normally, so I had to bring it to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gonna go up to your mom and be like, you know what I would tell Jada? Fuck you.
Honestly, she probably would still love it.
She wouldn't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, true.
She doesn't pay attention to that shit.
I think in politics, they probably showed it on some of the shows she watched.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Maybe.
No.
I don't think she's on YouTube nearly as much. Probably not.
But
All
anyways.
right. So, on a lighter note, I watched a movie with my wife the other day. Some of you may know what this movie is because it was like top on Netflix. I sound really quiet. Is that just my headphones?
Talk again?
Okay. Thank God. I was like,
I turned it down earlier.
I was moving my head a lot and I was screaming, so that's probably why. Anyway, my wife and I watched a movie called The Adam Project.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet, but
So we might have to switch you out with Justin.
Mm.
Yeah, like after
because I don't watch movies by myself.
I'll porn? You don't even watch gay porn? My porn that I send you? You don't watch it by yourself? Oh, you watch it with the crowd. I get it. Okay.
No, I just send it everywhere. Send it to anyone.
Hey,
everyone.
notoriety. It's publicity.
There's this
People
guy
come
that
over
really
here.
wants pictures of your feet, by the way. He said you had a really attractive feet.
I thought you were being totally serious. Oh, I was like, who? Your dad? Like, who? Man, you got nice feet. Give me. I want to sniff them. My wife? I don't fucking know. She hates feet. She's like you. She hates feet.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. I'll touch feet, lick feet. I don't give
I'll,
a shit.
I'll touch feet, but they're just
Suck on
feet.
some
They're just
toes.
feet. I have no attraction to them.
No, I have no attraction to them, but I don't
anything.
relate them as being the most filthy thing in a human being because they're.
I know the difference between normal feet. It's like, yeah, they're feet, but then there are some actually like nice looking feet. No,
Yeah.
I'm not like I want to masturbate to this. No, it's like
I want to cast your ankle and fuck your foot from the ankle side, bitch.
No, it's like, oh wow.
There are, as far as I
It's
know,
not
there are
like
what
an
are they called?
ugly-
Flashlights. Flashlights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
flashlights.
of an ankle.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. I only saw it on memes. I swear, I don't have one. I have two. 2 feet. You gotta get the full experience.
Flashlights.
No,
I have two of them.
one for each testicle. You only have one. But,
Yeah. Oh no, it's cool. Or in the in crowd.
How did we get here from the fucking project?
It's a feat. I mean, that's pretty normal with us.
Back to this. So Justin recommended this movie, and I think he did it on stream too.
Mm-hmm.
The Adam Project, which sounds nothing like what it's actually about, but let me explain. First, obviously, if you haven't watched the movie, why the fuck would you listen to me explain it? So spoiler alert, I guess. So there's pretty prominent names in there. Your favorites in it.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
Mark
Reynolds,
Ruffalo, who is the Hulk, is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Gamora. She also plays the Tiri from Avatar. Forgot her name.
Oh, that's why she looks familiar. Okay.
Yes. So she was Gamora.
Okay.
Who else? I know there's other people that were familiar. Oh, I forgot her name. Famous actress.
I wouldn't know. I could look it up.
She plays the mom. I forgot her name. She plays Jennifer Aniston, I think. Jennifer Aniston. No, I might be wrong. Just Jennifer sounds right. Jennifer Garner. God damn it, I got my Jennifer wrong. Oh! Anyway, it was... Okay. I wrote this. I'm going to explain it first so that maybe we might not have to swap you out.
Okay.
So, the story is... It's a quasi sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of sci-fi, but there's more underlying tone of like more of a drama or like a family... More of a feel-good movie, but kind of darker than a normal family feel-good movie.
Which is always good.
Yeah. And it's based on a story that follows Adam, go fucking figure, who goes back in time to find himself in the wrong year. So he was shooting for like 2018, but he missed it and went to 2022, which is the current year, obviously, where he meets his 12-year-old self, who is, Ryan Reynolds' banner on screen. He pretty much made most of the movie because the banter that he would do. But the 12-year-old was also giving him the same shit. He probably wrote the jokes for the 12-year-old, but the 12-year-old performed it very fucking well. Gave him shit. It was great.
You're ripped or whatever.
Yeah, he did say that.
Do I just get like this?
Yeah.
So
do I get laid?
Yeah. So in the story, the 12-year-old has to go with him because the DNA from his fingerprint has to be used in order to fire up his jet, which is lazy writing, by the way. I can't power up my own jet because I got shot. Oh, my vitals are bad. You're going to have to do it. So I know why they
How does that make sense?
I don't know.
It would...
I don't fucking... It's a sci-fi movie. I don't know why they did it. Okay. Because you'd think he got shot. How is he able to fly away? His vitals are going to be spiking through. How does he fly it? But apparently, it's just to start. It's just to find and start the jet.
Like a
maybe it's kind of like it scans through your body to see if you're healthy enough to.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's just like a little thing on his clip. He puts a thumbprint on it, and it's how in Marvel where they have like the cloaking thing where it looks invisible. That's basically the same thing with this, and it looks like a F-16 kind of platform. It's like a jet. Like that kind of jet, but it can travel through time. Anyway, the main goal was to go back to 2018 to investigate something that had happened. It seemed like their timeline had been completely fucked. So they were like, okay, let me go back and investigate and change things so that it would go back to what it was before. Eventually, both Adams are in trouble because the people who are coming from the future back to the past are tracking them, and they're trying to kill them because the main lady who has all the money in the world and rules Earth is the antagonist, the one that they're trying to fucking, well, not kill, but they're trying to prevent from getting her way, and she's trying to fucking kill them, like actually fucking kill them.
Okay.
And right before this scene plays out, you actually get older Adam, which is Ryan Reynolds, with the 12-year-old, and the 12-year-old finds a picture of his wife, which is Gamora. Okay. And he's like, who is this? And he's like, that's our wife kind of thing. And he's like, oh, we have a wife? He's like, no, we had a wife. Like, she passed away trying to, figure that all out. Of course, wife shows up to save his ass. So.
And that's why he came back, too, is for his wife.
Well, he went back to 2018 because that's where she blipped out, so no one knew why she didn't go upon re-entry. And he's like, there's no fucking way she didn't know how to re-enter because she was so fucking smart. So he's like, there's obviously something wrong. Someone tried to kill her. Maybe she messed up. So he was trying to go back to 2018 to see what happened in that moment, but he missed, obviously. But after she saves his ass, they start running away. And eventually she has to sacrifice herself she fucking dies. But they realize that they have to go back in time. Both Adams, the younger and the older, have to take the jet and go back in time, back to 2018, to stop time travel from ever existing. And what they figured out is that their father is the one who actually invented time travel. And the thing that I haven't mentioned is the 12-year-old, his timeline, his father had just died a year ago. So his father just passed away. You get to see the pain of a 12-year-old child going through the loss of his father, as well as what he does at school, what he does with his mom. He doesn't really act the right way. You can see his mom is like, it's like you, but you're not 12. And
and it was a car crash.
And yeah, it was a car crash. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I will remember.
Yeah. So. Obviously, older Adam, it's been a longer time. He resents his father a little bit more because, like anyone does, they rationalize the pain. And what's kind of beautiful is later in a moment when they are back in the past and they see their father, they have to talk with their father. And their father's so smart that he knows they're back from the future. And he knows he's dead.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I would make that conclusion too. It's like, okay, my sons are coming back, and one of my sons is really resentful of me. What the fuck did I do? I died. It's like, that would be my first thing. It's like, well, future me didn't come back to past me to help. So my son came in, so that probably means I'm fucking dead. Anyway, you can see him having a heart-to-heart moment with his kids, especially the older one, Ryan Reynolds, who really resents his father in this moment because he has replaced every happy moment with pain. And you can, I think on a psychological basis, the story's very fucking good because it's showing just how people who don't walk through grief properly will take that resentment and put it on somebody else. In this case, Ryan Reynolds put it on his father because his father wasn't there. Easy bag to, roll on. And what his 12-year-old son revealed to him is that his father was actually there for him almost always. And the older Ryan Reynolds, Adam, basically said that the only reason that he got one of the pitchbacks, which is like a fancy thing that you throw at and then the ball will come back and you can just pitch by yourself. He thought the reason that the pitchback was bought is because his father didn't have enough time to basically be with him and play with him. And because he bought that, now he didn't really get to play with him anymore. What 12-year-old Adam got to discuss, because he had a more recent memory, he's like, I wanted that. I went to the store and I wanted that, and so did you. Like, we're the same person. I saw it in the store and I wanted to buy it. And then once I got it, I didn't get to play with, he still came out and he played ball with me whenever he could. It's like your memories have misaligned because of your emotions, and that's actually very common. I thought that was a pretty good fucking trope to do. It's like you're messing with a lot of people and the pain that they have, and you're telling it in a story. And you have this background story of like you're trying to save the future, but anyway, in the end, obviously they save the day and blah blah blah. Time travel doesn't exist, and they go back to the house, which is a very fucking beautiful house for a single mom. It's like if you watch the movie, it's a very nice fucking house. Like probably $1 million house out in the woods.
Well,
it's very
was probably worth a lot of money.
True. And then when he passed away, that kind of thing. Yeah. But anyway, they basically destroy the thing that would make time travel exist, which obviously everyone knows in any movie. If you do that, the characters that came from a future timeline will eventually zap out of existence because you've changed the timeline. It'll take time. I think it's a bit of lazy writing, but at least it gave some time for the events that took place, which was they went back to the house, and then the dad, understanding that basically they're about to tell him like, "Hey, Dad, you die," and he's like, "Don't tell me how. Don't tell me how. We don't need to change this." It's like, don't tell me how. We
don't want to change the timeline again.
And then he goes up to Ryan Reynolds, and in a very like heart-to-heart way, which is very awkward when you think about it.
It was, but
in a very heart-to-heart way, you see that he's like, it's not your fault. I'm proud of you. Like, I love you. I never stopped loving you, bitch. And he basically has a heart-to-heart moment to basically, and eventually, Ryan Reynolds is doing, remember Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon when Robin Williams, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And Matt Damon's character's like, yeah. And he's trying to look around. He's trying to escape the moment because it's awkward. He doesn't like how it feels. And what I think was really good is the father actually hugged him because immediately now it's like, don't look anywhere else. Be here kind of thing. Because that's typically what happens when someone says, hey, and they look you dead. I'm proud of you. It's like you start to go like, you either accept it fully, but in that moment it was coming from his dead father, which is already like, what the fuck? But it's coming from your dead father who is very young, almost just like 10 years older than you, and you haven't seen him in decades. And now he is telling current you all of these things that he wanted, or that you wanted him to tell you that was actually from the heart. Now you're just like, and you can see Ryan Reynolds is like, what typically happens in that moment psychologically is people will give jabs or they'll try to divert the attention. And you can see that in Ryan Reynolds, and they did it beautifully. He's trying to make jokes. He was trying to take the attention elsewhere, but his father wasn't letting him until eventually the hug happened, and then he got to release all the emotions because, most guys, how we do it is we don't cry. And anytime that we're coming up to a moment that might make us cry, especially in front of people, especially kids, we try our best not to cry in that moment. And I think that's basically what they're trying to capture with Ryan Reynolds' character. He's trying his best not to cry, so he's trying to divert attention away, trying to make and once the hug happens, he has no option. Yeah. It was a beautiful scene. They basically got that closure with both of them. He went to the 12-year-old kid as well. And they eventually played catch with one another. And it was a pretty beautiful scene lined up. You knew what was going to happen. Both Adams look at each other. And I think the 12-year-old kid, the little shit, actually throws it to where the father has to walk away and turn around and see that no one's there. I know that's a common scene, but I think the end scene, the underlying tone of the movie, great. Clocks over there, or you got. Ooh.
Do share.
Feet.
How did you know? Fuck.
He was ordering one. The second I said something, he's like, "Oh man, really? Gotta order one."
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah. But it was, and if you watch it, obviously I spoiled it for you. If you haven't already watched it, but I wasn't talking to you.
Our viewer.
Fine.
We gave him a spoiler alert.
What viewers?
So, yeah, exactly.
Hey, 5 years from now.
What I think they did wrong is they should have left the future up to, like, your imagination. They shouldn't have told you that, oh, yeah, they find each other again. Like, him and his wife find each other again in the same place, which was a bit confusing. And then the 12-year-old... I think the scene where the 12-year-old hugs his mom because his older self is like, hug your mom, but mean it. Like, break a rib, mean it. Yeah. Like, hug your mom. And you can see he's about to walk off, and he comes out and he hugs his mom really hard. And that I think that was beautiful. Yeah. Because to that, his mom now sees that, yes, her son is struggling, and she already knew that, but now it doesn't feel like she's always being constantly attacked and stabbed by him because he's in pain, rather than now she can actually, feel like a mom again.
The mom didn't really show her pain to her son.
No.
Which
and
makes
that's
sense.
Normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the older version of him knew that, so that's why he wanted him to understand.
I remember the fucking bully scene.
Yeah.
It was like, what is it? Something about banana?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was fucking hilarious. Basically, his older self is like, hey, you gotta fight eventually. You get just get into it. Fight now. Fight your bully while the bully's right there. And he's like, just walk up to him with the look that you've been waiting for this your whole life. He hasn't fought a day in his life anyone bigger than him. So if you actually stand up to him, he's going to be fucking scared. Whenever he starts to throw the first punch, get on your knees and punch him in the crotch. And I can't remember what he said. He said something to do with the fucking banana. And I can't remember. It was sexually suggestive in a way.
It's like swimsuit. Like, swimsuit parts or something.
I don't remember. I can't remember. Yeah. But he did it wrong, and he got punched in the face, and that was pretty fucking funny. Anyway, my review of it. I wrote this down. I don't know why I wrote it for you guys. Overall, it was a decent feel-good movie that I think most kids could enjoy. There are a couple points in the story where the lack of imagination of the writers shine through. So whenever they're like the sci-fi-ness, they kind of just don't focus too much on that, and that kind of demeans the film in a way. Like the whole, well, I can't start it myself, I need you to start it kind of thing. I understand why they did that for the plot, so that both Atoms would be together, but it was lazy. You could have wrote it in a way that was a little bit more
believable.
Yeah. So I was like, that kind of took me away from it. So that
they might have rushed it.
That's one thing, because I think they were focusing solely on the psychological effect of losing your dad and what that would be like if you could go back and see your dad like you, and what would happen in that moment. And I think it was beautiful in that way. But
and I feel like that's why they made the movie too, because a lot of people lost loved ones.
Yeah,
so they kind of connect.
Probably. And it was finally a movie where there wasn't some social justice warrior bullshit injected into it, which is.
That doesn't happen very often with Ryan Reynolds.
Why it has to be a rarity, I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like
Hollywood
movies. You're supposed to sit down and enjoy them with the family, not just feel like your views are just being berated and bashed. And oh my god, like if they had an overt gay character that's kissing the mom kind of thing, it's like, why the fuck do you need this? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So I'm glad they didn't include it.
It doesn't add to the story.
No. Especially with the new Lightyear movie where they're gonna have a lesbian couple kiss like Buzz Lightyear. It's like, why the fuck does that fucking matter? You're a Disney Pixar for kids. Why the fuck are you trying to sexualize kids? It's like a lot of people are like, I'm not watching Disney anymore. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Anyway, specifically, I went over that. Went over that. Overall, I think the lessons of the story were realistic and important, surrounding the pain and the loss and the sacrifice. I personally enjoyed the movie and would recommend it for, I would say, families to watch together, and maybe restrict it for don't let children under 5 watch it because there are some scenes that I don't think they would understand, and I don't think that they would like watching the movie. But otherwise, it was a pretty good like family sit together movie. Even though they cuss occasionally, but it's like, okay.
Yeah, eventually kids will cuss.
What video or music video or otherwise doesn't have a bit of cussing that your child's not going to pick up a potty mouth from now? It's like...
Yeah. It's usually the parents anyways.
Well, I would say what were your thoughts about the movie, but I forgot. So,
watch it.
Justin...
Well, you can have thoughts now that
do you have thoughts?
To review... Oh. I'm
did
not
you
very...
want
You want
No,
to
it's
switch?
fine.
Okay,
I won't talk probably that much.
But
I don't have a huge opinion because
you
I
watched
like
it
all
twice.
sci-fi movies. It made me feel emotional. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The cool thing is he was able to go back to see his dad.
They kind of did
Like,
a
if
cheap
I-
shot a little bit. Because any time I can see a father walk up to his son and say, "I'm proud of you," looking at him, always gets to me.
Oh yeah,
That's more
that made me cry,
powerful than
too.
"I love you," "I'm proud of you." Oh, and we talked about it before, but just that is. I remember,
Biggest thing.
and I didn't remember back when we talked about this before, but right after I graduated high school, my grandma came up to me and she said, looking me in the eyes, "I'm proud of you," and I just fucking started bawling like, okay, we're going, and we were going somewhere at that point. I'm like, whoo!
The funny thing is your eyes are watering right now.
Yeah, it meant so much to me. Even
Yeah.
thinking about it again, it brings up that emotional impact.
It means a lot to a man for whatever reason.
Yeah,
It's just,
because it's like finally someone acknowledges I do something around here. I don't just work at Domino's and make some money. At that time, I didn't.
To finish my thought, like if my dad or anyone that I love died, I would love to be able to go back to see them again and actually enjoy them completely.
Especially if you weren't able to get that closure in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what made me feel.
I'm looking at you,
Yeah.
bitch.
feel
I know.
emotional.
Would you go back in
No,
time to have one more interaction with your dad if you could?
Hell yeah, I would.
I don't know. Because I think it would be harder for me to move on if I was willingly doing that to myself.
If you could only do it once, like there's only you can only do it once. There's no way to go back like a drug. Like you can't keep talking to your dad. You can only go back once to say the things that you wish you could say before he passed, and have him say the things that he could say to you before he passed. Like he knew he was gonna die in that same situation.
I don't know if it would give me closure per se. Yeah, it would be like the questions that I think of now, but there's always going to be those new questions. It's going to be the like, holy shit, like I got to see him. God, that I think that would detriment me, or however you would say that. It would put me back even farther in my mind. That I think it would be more detrimental to myself if that was an option. I probably wouldn't do it because like,
would it feel more like you're letting yourself not let go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I get that. I get that
because I'm already trying to.
Because you're like, well, it's possible that I did it one time. Now I can do it again. Like, there's a possibility I can bring my father
Well, there's like
back.
that, but it's also
that would fuck
like
with me.
it's like I grieved already. Then I'd have to kind of go over that. I haven't grieved.
I think in some way it could patch like some wounds that
it could, but it would just open new ones.
It could.
So that's a really tough thing.
You almost have to be at peace right at the end. Otherwise, it's just
If you're not at peace, that's gonna fuck you up.
Because it's gonna feel like a second time you lost your dad. It's like, oh boy.
But I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I mean, my instinct is to be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But if you actually think about that, it's like that could be very detrimental to me even more than it already was.
I think I would, because
it's
for
a tough
me, closure is a big thing for me. If I don't get closure in a relationship, like someone, like I talked about, someone moves away and there's no closure there, it just gnaws at me. Like I can't. It's like I can't move on, and because I can't move on because I didn't get the closure in the first place, it's like someone walking up to you, have a really nice conversation, oh bye, and then walk away, and you never see them again. It's like they don't mean as much to you in that moment necessarily, but that lack of closure just stays with you. You're like, wonder where the fuck they are, kind of thing, and because of my fucking mind, it just
never goes away.
Nope. So I remember every interaction I've had with everyone. If you treated me like shit, fuck you. Although I don't remember it, to be honest. I don't remember that, to be honest, for most people. I mean, my brother, but
that's what I was about to say.
Not a random stranger. I don't really give
to
two
answer your
shits.
question. Probably not at this moment.
Okay.
But I think it.
But if I'm on the news already, you might as well give it a shot.
For example, if you are like 40 or 50 years old, like maybe 30 years from now, would you maybe?
That's a unanswerable question because I don't know.
That's true.
But right here, right now, I couldn't.
Because it'd have to be like in that scenario. You're not actually going back to try to see your dad. You have to go back to see your dad to solve whatever problem it is. It's like him being there is not the target. It's just something that had to happen. Like you didn't go back to see him, but you had to see him in order to do whatever you had to do.
This is how I'm going to try to explain this is we didn't leave on bad terms. We didn't,
That's true. But
just he was taken suddenly,
Yeah.
and that's what gets me most of all. But it's like, how do I explain this? I had it in my head, and then me saying that kind of got me off track.
You're like, making some emotions come through. I gotta reel that back. I'm kidding.
No. Kind of bring up what you were just saying before I kind of intruded.
I think you're talking about the abruptness of your father passing, and then that you didn't leave off on bad terms.
We didn't leave off on bad terms, so like I knew he was proud of me, even though I didn't hear it, and I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him that like any of those things, but I knew he knew it. I knew all these things that like it's more you that puts more of a negative thing.
Am I distracting you?
Yes, it is. Distracting me. No, you're fine.
Okay now. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's this then. We need like tape or something.
Yeah. Oh, no, there you go.
Here
I think I just
it's
need new headphones, to be honest.
Well, it's tugging on something.
That's mine.
That's his.
That's mine, dude.
That's why you keep trying to plug his in. Mine is the other one.
How about
There,
now?
yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't touch it. Don't touch it. There we go.
I think it's
Sorry.
more the person that you think too much about it. But if you really just take a step back and look at the relationship in general, like I didn't hate my father, or there wasn't anything like that. He didn't hate me. It was just that he was taken so quickly, and I didn't get to say goodbye. That's the biggest thing that I have. But he knew those. He knew those things. It's just you. It's your thoughts that get you to think so poorly.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have that immediate closure, but
I think it would help to just have that final goodbye.
I mean, yes,
even
it
though
would.
you knew it, it's like you just want to hear it.
Yeah.
I think it just
I mean, it would definitely be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I don't know.
Did you have any like further questions? Because we're ahead of schedule.
Any further questions?
Yeah, like deep questions.
On this?
Yeah, no, like deep.
Oh, just in general?
Deep.
Okay, I did have one. Who do you, and this is actually funny because this is really related to what we were already talking about.
Oh, good.
Okay, this is maybe a bad question, but who do you think would hit you more dying in your family? Like, who would be that one person that you think that would hit you harder than the others? I feel like that's a deep, like that's a good question.
It'd be between my wife and my dad.
It's not saying that like, no, I'm not saying
I'm not saying that it wouldn't hit me. I think they all hit me pretty equally fucking hard.
Right, but there's
there's a reason why men don't last very long after their wives pass.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So.
And in that way, you're more emotionally attached to your wife, too. You never fucked your dad. You fucked your wife, though. So you have some emotional attachment to her in a way that you could never have with your dad. But for me, I always looked up to my dad when I was a kid. Like, I was like, that's going to be big me someday.
Yeah.
I'm making fun of my dad. He's a little bit bigger, but... Although he didn't used to be. He's always had massive arms. I don't know what it is. When he was younger, he looked like Austin, but eventually, like, we started looking close. Now we don't even look that similar anymore. But
should clarify that Austin, his brother Austin.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad is not a redhead. Not even
That'd
close.
Be funny.
He wishes though.
Although he was born blonde, and then his hair got pretty dark.
Yeah, it darkened up.
Yeah.
I think that was because of the sun. He was outside all the time.
It depends on how they pass too. If they all pass the same way,
they're all not gonna pass the same way.
That's true. But if like in this way, which one would it hit you the most?
Right.
If they all died similarly,
right?
I don't know. There are some cases where I think I'd my mom. There'd be some cases where if I lost my mom in a certain way, that would hit me pretty fucking hard.
Right.
My siblings can go fuck themselves.
But I mean, in general.
I mean, to be honest, my siblings passing too. I've like, there've been times where like I think of a scenario through, and I catch myself off guard because in the scenario I basically kill off my brothers and sisters in a way, not in like a masochist way, but as I'm walking through, I start to cry like as if I actually truly. I'm like, wait a minute.
I imagine it sometimes like a family member
what would
dies,
I do?
and then I start crying.
Yeah,
I'm imagining it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably be wife first, then my dad, then my mom. Justin?
Mom first for me. Dad.
Mama's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then dad would be definitely close to that.
Yeah.
They're both pretty much equal to me, in my thoughts. And then siblings about the same, but Austin maybe a little bit more. Because I've worked with him so much.
That's
he literally
well,
calls,
that and like
he also calls me almost every day now.
you're also twins.
Yeah.
There
We have a
is something
connection.
there with
True.
twins that.
Yeah.
But my sister can go fuck herself. I'm kidding.
Damn.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Oh, you should have thought through that one. You became a nurse. You're the one who should be. Fucking.
You got a question for me?
Would you second that with Brandon though? Would it be your dad?
Well, yeah.
or-
What would if everyone was still alive?
If everyone was still alive, it would be my grandfather or my dad. It would
Okay.
be either one of those, and both of them are gone.
Wow.
So
That's why you're fucked up.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
In
get
a
as
sense.
close. I mean, we got pretty close to our grandparents, but not as close. Like,
Well, because we
most
moved.
families. Yeah, that's the only problem. We're never near them.
I mean, even though he lived in another state, but we saw them a lot, and we were with him a lot.
That's what
Yeah.
makes it different.
Like I grew up in Idaho, like half here and half in Idaho, I would say.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't necessarily live there, like I was there like when I growing up until like the past few years, I was there 3 to 5 times a year
I remember that.
for over a week to 2
I'm
weeks.
surprised you guys didn't move.
Sometimes we went like for a month.
Oh, we did that too. When we were growing up, we'd stay in
Mhm.
Kansas for like 3 fucking months.
Yeah, you guys stayed a little bit longer,
Yeah, sometimes.
but we probably spent about the same amount of time just
In both.
yeah, you guys just went in one trip. We went
a
Well,
bunch of trips.
a bunch of trips
we
throughout
had
the
to
year.
drive all the way to Kansas. That's not an easy trip to make every 2-3 weeks. It's tough.
Well, we didn't go every 2-3 weeks. It was like every like 3 months. So
That's
like
still
sometimes
pretty
we
fucking
we
tough.
went like 2 times in a month, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm dead.
I don't want
That's
to.
a lot of driving.
Like it sounds horrible, but it's like I don't want to be in the car for that long. I don't want to be necessarily trapped with you guys for that long
I
again.
remember you
so
would ask
soon.
if any of us wanted to go. And
Yeah.
I was so badly, it was like, I'm too scared to go. I don't know what the fuck is up with Idaho. But there's just like something like, I don't really know his grandparents. I know the family. So that would be fun. But I've also hear all the shit that they do in Idaho. I'm like, half that shit. As a kid, I was like, I don't really want to do that. So I
Like
was like,
what? Like shoot guns and
Catch snakes.
I
fucking-
think 4-wheeling. Did you 4-wheel over there?
yeah,
Yeah.
we went for a while.
For some reason, it's probably because your fucking accident that scared me. Your
You
Oh, my
traumatized
my
us.
ATV
yeah,
ATV accident.
yeah.
Yeah.
You seem to have a knack for fucking up somewhere, and you're. You know what? You should always be in an enclosed cab because when you're in an enclosed cab, you don't fucking die or almost. So
Yeah, but I'm still here.
Yeah,
By some fucking miracle. You know, the first one was your grandfather. Now this one's your father. So now you better be careful because there's not a lot of people that give up.
The next generation down.
It's like you have to give and
plant my seed now.
Yeah, it's great. Your child looks at this in the future like, and the second that you have a near-death experience, they're like 4 or 5. They're like, no! They would never watch this show. You should never let them watch this show. Fuck that.
Oh,
Little
man.
Austin Jr. over there is going to learn his first C word from Brandon. Cut!
No, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it'd probably be my grandfather and my father. Because before everyone died, like my grandmother was the first one to die of my family.
That was in Africa, too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
I took that hard just because I found out on
Facebook?
It wasn't Facebook. It was Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And I was really confused. I was like, what the fuck? And then literally not shortly after, your mom comes over to me and she like gives me a hug and she's like, I have your mom on the phone. She wants to talk to you.
I remember that.
And I was like,
because I remember we having like a really funny conversation
Yeah.
and then you turn and then my mom walks over, hugs you and hands. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Who died? And I was like, ooh.
I took that one. It's weird. It's weird. Since my grandfather and my father were way closer to me, I took that one the hardest.
I can see why.
But it's weird because with my grandfather dying, like it was like, oh,
it's also
he
your
died.
first loss.
There he goes.
Yeah, it was like, shit.
I'm sure first losses are worse than.
Yeah, they are.
True.
They are because you kind of know
Understand.
the similarity. Like there's really similarities, so you kind of know how to go through it in a sense. But it's like, fuck, you know. It's.
I have to come up to the terms of reality of death now.
Yeah.
Because when you're a teenager, you're like, I'm immortal, nothing can kill me, and then, oh shit.
Yeah, it's someone that you idolize, and you're like,
Early
They
20s,
die.
man, I'm gonna die next year.
yeah. I mean, I'm honestly surprised that I've made it this long in
yeah.
my own.
I mean, I should have died at like week 7, so I'm done. My odds are pretty fucking good.
Yeah. Anyways, do you have a question? Because
It wasn't a question, but it was actually a tie-on, so
okay,
and we'll probably go back and forth.
You
But I
got-
have
you
this in
said
the
to
end of
me,
the
like,
show.
get 3 questions or.
Well, I asked you to have a few deep questions
Yeah.
to just ask me because you seem to be asking questions after the podcast that get us in a fucking tangent. So you should be the one to come up with questions.
I do have deep questions.
So there, what?
I said I do have some pretty deep questions.
Yes.
A lot of the times, yeah.
Yes, but speaking of Idaho,
Mm-hmm.
we're probably not going to have a show. When is that? June.
June 5th. We leave the 5th.
5th and come back the 11th.
11th.
So we won't have a show that week, which I mean it's pretty far out, but
Yeah.
oh,
Saw it.
far out, dude. Anyway, we're going on a fishing trip
Hell
to
yeah.
Idaho. Hell
yeah,
yeah!
motherfucker.
And then Justin is going to my grandma's 80th. I don't remember when that is. It's soon,
It's
isn't
in
it?
June. It's
Yeah.
in June as well.
Isn't
It's
it in
on
the same week?
I don't remember. I should know her.
I didn't
birthday,
schedule
but
it out
I think
that
it was
way.
later June, but it was on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
I'd be gone possibly for 2 podcasts because I might be staying a little bit. But
Okay.
it's probably just gonna be a week.
We don't need you. It's fine. Although it's, I remember the one time we didn't have you. Oh my god, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't
that bad.
horrible, but I mean,
me.
Yeah, and then you're going to Las Vegas in August.
well, aren't we all going?
I know you are. I know he is. But
Yeah.
my wife and I right now.
I just need to pay for the plane ticket, right?
And that wouldn't be that much because I have companion fares. So
Yeah.
Now let me know when you get the tickets because I want to get them. This-
yeah.
We want to get them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason
And-
my wife and I aren't going is we're trying to save up for a house. So it's like every trip we plan, we're like, okay, maybe 1 or 2 trips this year, but you know, we took 3 or 4
But I'm
trips last
going.
year.
Come on.
And I know he's getting drunk. That's the other thing. And we've been to Vegas before, and we really want to go back. But it's like right now we're on track to come bind together, making like.
So it's just gonna be you and me. Like
no.
It would be David.
Yeah.
He's pretty chill. He gets.
So it's gonna be the four. So it's gonna be the four of us. Okay.
It'll be a lot of fun still. And I'm gonna plan out some things we're gonna do there as well.
I may be able to convince my wife, but that'll take a lot because she's been more gun ho about this than I have. As far as getting a house, I understand it. I still want a house too.
Yeah, because you got in trouble.
I didn't get in trouble. That's not what happened. So I swapped shifts with Justin, and Ashley was not necessarily happy with me, but she didn't know all of the facts because I had been keeping track of what we spend and how much money we make, and she, because of the app on her phone, it would tell her that she's in the red because she's spending more than her budget. So she thought we were in the red every month. So she was stressing out because she's like, I'm working this hard and we're not making a single dollar and I want to get a house. And I'm like, we've made year to date, after all the losses, like $6,000. On this track, we'll have about $70,000 at the end of the year, which is about 20% on the houses down in Texas. So it's like, we're on the right track. Take a breath. It's like, I'm not like I was being.
So when would you guys move to Texas?
It would probably be so. It would depend on whether or not I get into medical school.
Mm-hmm. So still a while.
And that's a big if. Like medical school's not easy to get into, and I'm already like feeling because the MCAT that I have to take is April 29th. I'm already starting to feel like I'm not ready. And if I don't get a good test score and all that doesn't feel right, and all the application processing goes like awry.
And if that doesn't work out, then you would want to get a job here, save up as much money as
and
here,
then
then move because like that money's going to set you up for a while.
We would be on. The problem is, what do I do when I get down there? That's the hard part. I'll have to figure something out.
Because you're restarting from scratch.
Oh, and then the other thing is with the podcast, if we move down there and you guys don't, it's like, what the fuck? I don't want to do fucking Skype or fucking Zoom. That's no, fuck it.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be.
You can still do it in different locations, and it wouldn't be Skype or anything. You'd have to figure it out. But.
That would be a fucking pain.
Well, it's that dive podcast. They do that.
Yeah. I actually learned that they do it in the same room. I thought they did
really?
Different rooms.
They just do different cameras and okay.
Oh, I thought they did it.
Yeah, because one time they did a candy challenge and you'd reach way over there to hand it to them. So they're actually in the same room. But I'm pretty sure you could still be in a different location.
But I mean, even then, when we would move to Texas, if I did get into medical school, it'd probably be like January next year. We'd move down there, an apartment or house. We'll figure it out when we get there. But if I don't get in, then it'll probably be whenever we reach that 20%, and then we would probably move down there and get a house because percentage rates are only going to keep going up.
Yeah. Due to the
makeup on face, is this the norm amongst men nowadays? What?
Is that our first trash talk?
Has long hair, makeup on face. He doesn't have.
I don't have makeup.
He's just naturally beautiful, bitch.
I don't have makeup,
bitch.
It might be the lighting.
Hold on. Yeah, dude.
Do I look that much like shit that he looks like he has makeup on? Yeah, I know.
Boom!
Yeah,
Roasted.
I know my face is red. That is because I have a skin condition, motherfucker. You piece of shit.
That's probably Caitlin.
True. Yeah, that'd be funny.
That would be funny.
Yeah, but she wouldn't say dude on the right has long hair, makeup on face.
I'm just trolling. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't got makeup.
I don't know if any of my male friends, and you have completely moved the show.
Wait, hold up. No. I love how
obviously a woman. This is a woman, and then a man's not going to be like, well, what about the
thank you for watching, by the way.
Thank you.
We're not coming at you. We're
roasting you.
Yeah, we're having fun.
I'm actually happy you said that because that's fucking hilarious.
That is really funny. Yeah, no, that's good.
But actually, it's a topic to discuss. I don't actually think that many men are wearing makeup, and the men that do wear makeup are just, I think they get too much. Like James Charles is one that comes to mind on the YouTube platform. He's popular. That doesn't mean that all men do the same thing. Most men don't wear makeup, and the only time that I have ever worn makeup is to see what I look like, like the mascara, because I have I have really long
that's great.
eyelashes. When I put mascara on, it looks like I'm wearing
Bro.
fake eyelashes. It's fucking.
One of my exes did that to me.
I looked in the mirror and I was like, nope.
100% looked like a.
Take it off. Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah. I was scared of myself when I looked in the mirror. I was like, I gotta run.
But I was like, well, I gotta see. No, I gotta remember. No. I was like, hell no. And the only other time is whenever we were taking family pictures. My sister's like, hey, you need to put this foundation on your face. You have a zit. I was like, okay, fine. You blend it. I don't fucking care. But most men do not wear makeup unless they are on like some kind of major news broadcast or they're doing the Oscars. They may have a little bit mild makeup, or if they're an actor. Most men do not wear makeup.
Okay.
And you want to know what will prove that theory? Is ask any man if he has any makeup. Ever bought makeup in his life? Every man will say no.
Yeah, I've never.
And the men that do, you'd be like, look at your nails. And if they do that, oh, they're gay.
Yeah, you just you do that.
Yeah, you gotta
don't go.
You gotta get multiple points of data to see if whether or not they are. Like, oh, they buy makeup. Maybe not. Look at your nails. Oh, yeah, you are.
Whenever someone says like, oh, like something to do with nails, I'm like I do like this horrible like claw look. I'm like so aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you always say 100% true and then lead in?
That's the name.
Oh,
that's the name, you dumbass.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you keep saying that? Fuck!
No, it's the name.
It's like saying
Okay,
like all the
Great
time.
show.
Oh,
Thank you. I appreciate the
Ow,
comment.
fuck, my beard keeps getting stuck in the microphone. It's 4 a.m. almost. I've been up since like noon yesterday, which isn't that long actually. I'm a
I always
bitch.
knew you were a little bit weak.
Are we fishing today?
Are we? I don't know because I texted you guys and you were like,
She said
she said I want to try to go as early as possible. I'm like
after the show, and then
so after the show, like that's what
Is that why you blackmailed me before the show? And I called you like 3 times. You're like, I'm not gonna fucking pick up. Fuck you.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna try to feel it out.
I was gonna tell you.
I was gonna try to stroke my dick a little bit to see if whether or not I was awake enough to, cast a rod out and see if I can catch a fish.
Instantly, my
Let him
asshole
talk.
is in danger.
Yeah.
No, I was actually gonna tell you why I was late, but then we had to start, so I'll just tell you afterwards.
Okay. You don't want to tell them.
I don't want to tell them.
So I found a man, and he's so fucking hot.
I am not gay. Just to clarify.
For me, you are.
Oh, for sure, baby. Oh man, good shit.
Now I was gonna think of a question, but it's right out of my brain.
Right out of the brain.
Do you think this is bad for me?
Doctor.
It's Diet Dr. Thunder.
Thunder.
I don't think it's
Dr.
much worse
Thunder.
than the regular drink.
Do you think it's worse for me than Dr. Pepper normal?
People say
Yeah.
sugar is horrible, but I don't think sugar is as bad as people say it is.
I think, okay, it's a bit of a leading question because I know the answer to it, but it's like...
I believe that it is probably worse.
So, I think both are pretty... I'd say both are pretty bad. Drink water. It's the one thing that you should be drinking. Put in your body water. Now, occasionally also consume some electrolytes, because if you just consume water and only water, eventually you'll actually become more malnourished, especially when it comes to vitamins and other certain minerals. But otherwise, just drink normal or water on a normal basis.
There's a lot of water and soda.
But there are multiple factors that are similar between the two. The carbonation actually creates carbonic acid, which brings down the pH of the water to about 5. Yes, I know, because I studied it. The pH of 5 isn't necessarily harmful unless you constantly drink it and you don't wash your mouth out with some water to bring the pH back up to a normal neutral range. It'd be like eating lemons. You know how your teeth can get pretty sore if you eat lemons or sour candy. That's the same effect. It's just a stronger acid. So that's the reason you want to, be careful with your teeth whenever you drink that kind of stuff. I would say after you drink a Coke, make sure to drink some water too, because that'll get most of the acid off. And most of the sugar too. The high sugar will also your body will try to, I believe this is correct, I may be wrong. Your body in the mouth will try to regulate your pH because the sugar will actually bring your pH way up, make it very basic. So your body's going to try to control it by making it very acidic, which is bad for your enamel. The other reason why people think that Diet Coke or Diet Soda is worse than normal soda is aspartame, which isn't actually as bad, I don't think, as people think it is. And I think the reason that people have this underlying idea that it could lead to cancer, that it could lead to cancer is because there was one study that was conducted in which some mice had a increased likelihood of having cancer, but it wasn't statistically significant in any way. That's the only study that I could find that led to the conclusion that aspartame could be harmful in humans, but it was only with mice, and they haven't actually done a trial run with humans to see if whether or not it leads to an increased risk, because you could really never do that on the time scale that is allowed. The reason we do it on mice is they don't live for very long, and if they do have cancer, it shows up pretty quick after they consume something. So we extrapolate on them, like with bacon, how they say bacon may lead to cancer. They only can say may lead to because I think they're extrapolating on mice. They don't actually know if in humans that causes any kind of increased cancer risk because mice are relatively small, so they can't process as much as we can, whether or not that is a major effect in that. But
so it leads to death.
What? Yeah, eventually the mice die and then they dissect them.
Yeah.
I've dissected a rat.
I've dissected
It had large testicles. It was huge for its body size.
Impressive.
Fucking huge.
Bigger than yours, huh?
I don't want that fucking big of testicles. Like, have you seen gerbils' testicles? Gerbils have one of the biggest testicles of any.
And been like,
the only reason I know is my wife had 2 gerbils, Skittles and Apollo. Both of them were men, and they had massive testicles. Like, you didn't have to flip them over. You could see them from behind.
Pigs?
Goats' testicles. They literally have to castrate those testicles.
Should I search it?
Pigs testicles,
probably not
dude.
Appropriate.
Dude, pigs' testicles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and they're not always massive.
How?
No.
It's just some of them.
It's some
weird.
pigs.
dude.
Makes me wonder about some humans.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Back on the aspartame fucking stint.
Well, also, you were going to ask a question.
I just did with the Dr. Thunder, but
Oh.
Aspartame in the body is broken down, I believe, into 2 different things. One is, what is it? Shit. Now I forget. Fuck you. I think one of them.
Are you yelling at yourself?
Yeah. I think one of them is methanol, which is actually very dangerous in large quantities in the body. But when we were talking about the conversion of aspartame to methanol, very slow, not very much is produced, so you don't have to worry about it. Printer ink is notorious for being very poisonous in humans because it has a high concentration of methanol. You can drink alcohol, which is ethanol. It's still toxic to a degree, which causes the intoxication to occur in the body, but that's what gives you the fun, drunk vibes. That's ethanol. Methanol, shouldn't drink it at all. It'll kill you. But it's not at a large enough quantity when it's broken down from aspartame. The other thing, and the reason that they have a warning on the can that says contains phenylalanine, is phenylalanine is an amino acid, which is one of the building blocks of protein. You know what an amino acid is, roughly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's one of the building...
I've never done, Googled it and been like...
Yeah, it's basically...
I wonder what
it's a building block of a protein.
Because I don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, cut out. Yeah. So
even I did.
I believe we in the human body have 23 amino acids. Some of them are modified, but it's about 23. And depending on the sequence of amino acids to build certain proteins, why you can have one protein do something and another protein do other things is because, like Legos, you can build them in a different way and you can make them look different. Even though the building block's the same, you can structure them in any way you want to, kind of like with protein. The reason that phenylalanine is dangerous is in some people, they cannot break down phenylalanine, and if that builds up too much in the blood, it'll fucking kill you. That's why they give the warning, because there are some people that cannot break it down. That's why they give the warning, not because we can't. We can break it down by far fast enough that even if you drink 2 liters, you'll die of water intoxication before you die of the aspartame. Yeah. It's like, whether or not it leads to cancer, it's still possible, but then again, everything can. The sun can.
Dude, anything can get you nowadays, honestly.
Drinking from this bottle can fucking give you cancer. It's like...
Talking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Which we can,
yeah, you're very cancerous.
yeah,
Justin.
which we can get into a little bit. So we have about 6 minutes, but we can go over because we're going fishing.
Are we? Are we going fishing?
We're going fishing.
Oh, we're going fishing.
Like
okay.
right now?
Probably not gonna
No,
catch shit.
not
No,
right now.
God.
later, like light when light
Well,
rises from
I
the
think we
horizon.
should go right as get there before the sun comes up.
Well, we're okay.
Getting
So
close.
4:30 is the latest that we can be here then, because we have to. Oh, put everything in the fucking car. Let's go, and then.
I mean, you kind of looked like you were having a seizure there.
We all were when the systems shut down. It might have been us.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about cancer.
You
Cancer?
Yeah.
You
So
actually
me.
did?
Wait, you're a Cancer?
I'm cancer.
I thought you were.
I give you cancer.
What is February? February's not Cancer.
I was not talking about that.
I know you were. I know you were.
I knew.
That's funny.
I immediately knew
Aren't,
you.
aren't you is
Let's
that
see if you
Virgo or is
remember.
that a Gary?
I don't know
the Aqua
anything.
one. The
Aquarius.
Aquarius. Is that it?
Okay, but which one?
Aquarius. Okay. Okay.
You got it right.
I know my signs.
I'm like right on the verge though. Wow,
I'm a Leo.
that was
That
hot.
doesn't make any sense. Okay, all of that is bullshit. Fuck you. There's no moon and star alignment that would make sure that every child born within a set month period would always have the same personality. That there's only, what,
Okay,
12 different fucking personalities. Fuck you!
I don't get why it's
Damn.
so popular. I never learned anything about it because this is bullshit.
Because it's a whole bunch of girls like, oh my god, I'm this, and they're like, oh,
It's a
that means that
social
you're
thing.
such a good person. Like, I want to hang out with you.
Yeah, it's weird.
only for girls.
Yeah.
Guys don't give a shit. And the second the girl's like, hey, what's your fucking sign?
Yeah.
And you say it, and then they fucking ghost you. It's like, what the fuck?
It's a weird.
I do not
It does.
understand it.
There is no correlation with what sign you are and what your personality
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And if you want to believe me, go to the positive things that they say about Leos, about Aquarius. I can't remember all of them because I'm not a fucking witch.
Damn,
Oh, this
okay.
crystal's gonna heal me. That crystal's not
Why do you
gonna
always
do
grab
fucking
your
shit.
nipples?
It's quartz because this is my woman. I'm trying to accentuate my womanhood.
I see.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I see you found the cheat
There is
code.
no correlation between personality and fucking that. That's all I wanted to get to. Anyway, Cancer. Back to
Cancer.
Cancer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to know what Cancer is? It's very simple. It's not very complex.
It's a cell.
I mean,
That
isn't
is
it
correct.
just
It
a
is a cell.
compromise of cells.
You get in there.
It's been a long time since.
Yeah. So Cancer. Don't look it up. You fucking cheat. Oh.
Damn, bitch.
I called him out and I ate shit. But Cancer, like when I was learning it in school, and I remember there's, oh no, my beard hair came out. Sorry, I get so distracted. There was,
The mic is eating your beard.
now I got to tell this story. There was a time we were sitting down at a table in Africa that you weren't here. It was the latest one that we did. It was 2019, and there was someone there that I don't know why she didn't like me. Maybe I was being egotistical in some way. I didn't mean to come off that way, but I was having a conversation, normal conversation that some people have, and I said basically Cancer is your own cells no longer being able to be regulated in some way in the cell cycle, which is just a specific cycle in which cells undergo to spread is not the right word.
Use it, please.
Yeah, spread it. So basically what the cycle is you have the G1 phase, which just means growth. It grows until it gets to the S phase. The S phase just means that the DNA replicates, which you have a set of chromosomes. It's just a copy of those chromosomes. So now you have two. After it replicates, this is in a cell. After that, you go through G2, which is a growth phase to basically get your cell ready to split into two. This is, I believe this is meiosis is what it's called. It's basically cells going from 1 to 2. After it gets there, it goes to the mitotic phase. It's a fancy word, which basically means it goes from big to 2. Like from your one big testicle, it goes into 2.
So it's opposite.
No. It'd be like if your big testicle was one big cell, now it would tend to spread, go apart, and make two. Like it would replicate that way. I
said the opposite. So I had 2. I got 1. Yeah. And it got big.
I guess you're right. But the healthy cell cycle for cells that do replicate in your body, and they have to, because if you're going to grow, you need more cells. Or if you're like your skin cells, they flake off, you have to make more to replace those skin cells. So there are some cells in your body that will constantly replicate until you die. Some cells that don't. Nerve cells being a big one. They don't replicate again. Yep. You have them for life. They don't replicate again. Of course, when you're a baby, they have to. But what are you trying to say? You're leaning. I don't like this.
All you gotta do is talk about testicles, and Austin will understand.
Yeah,
what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Basically,
remember. Allah Akbar. I know where that is.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Kuwait. Allah Akbar. Click. Oh wow. I don't know how he did it.
I don't know either. But he literally did that, and I was like.
That was so funny. I remember that. But let me go back. So in that cell cycle, as it replicates, that's normal. And sometimes it'll go into what's called G0, which means it won't ever replicate again, like with nerve cells. But with skin cells, it has to constantly replicate because it's sloughing off. What cancer is the cell that normally is not supposed to replicate cannot stop, because there are stopping points along that cycle that will keep a cell from splitting into 2 or growing any bigger.
It's constantly trying to repair when it's not needing to.
No. In fact, what happens is the DNA is beyond repair to the point where it doesn't know, because it doesn't know anything. I'm personifying it.
There you go. You found it.
Fucking idiot.
There you
sometimes.
Go. Congratulations.
Cut out whenever you're talking.
The cell doesn't know what to do, but it uses the DNA to determine what it should do. And when the DNA is so fucked up that it is no longer, and they're called oncogenes, another fancy fucking word, meaning oncologist. You know what an oncologist is?
Yeah.
Someone who treats cancer patients. Same thing. It's just cancer gene. And whenever that gene mutates, sky high, it'll basically
Sorry. Onco. When he said that.
Yeah. It's from the movie. Sky High.
The dummy?
Was it the dummy that said it? Or
no,
I forget. I know it's in the movie though. Sky High. We watched that.
Yeah.
Shit.
I know.
It's a superhero high school up in the sky. The bus flies up. It's like,
you're talking about the
the was old. Him.
Yeah.
I think it was when he was.
No, he was.
Because I'm trying to remember.
Because it was the girl was the bad guy, but there was someone who was like with her, and he would constantly, and she would do that eventually. Okay, now I know what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Stop fucking sidetracking me. This is important.
I apologize. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm making something simple less simple because I'm trying to break it down. I'm sidetracking.
Yeah, you're doing that to yourself. Why are you fucking blaming me?
But basically, the
hypocrite.
The DNA that is in your cells basically is responsible for telling that cell whether or not it should replicate. And if the DNA has gone beyond a point, it'll just continuously replicate. And why it would form a mass? Because that mass is basically that same cell and its generation just constantly spreading. And even though your body is sending signals, hey, fucking kill yourself, which is what your body does. Your body does that. It's called apoptosis.
Demonetized.
So it's not even just my mind that wants me dead.
No. And cells that are beyond saving will actually undergo it without any signal. Sometimes it's called apoptosis, which is basically like, I know I'm not a good cell. I know
that was beautiful music.
I know that I'm going to lead to the death of my collective, if you will. I'm going to kill myself so that I don't cause any further harm to them, and eventually you'll be swallowed and taken away.
I just noticed this.
So that's why when you're younger, even though you have about the same cancer risk as those who are older, your body is more naturally attuned to, removing that. And as you get older, you actually have more and more mutations as you go on, because when you replicate, you think about something millions of fucking units long. Eventually, your body's going to make a mistake and put something in where it shouldn't be.
Right.
Sometimes it's an important part, sometimes not. But as you get older, you get exponentially more mutations. So as you go beyond, I think it's like 50, your risk of cancer, it just keeps almost like doubles every year. It's like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Let's
again,
go.
it is your own
so
cells.
So there's benefits to living old.
Yeah. It's your own cells trying to kill yourself. Cancer is not just some magical sickness. It's your own cells trying to kill yourself. And why it's so hard to treat is because it's your own fucking cells. Because if you try to target those cells, you're targeting other cells as well. And that could be fucking dangerous. That's why they do chemotherapy typically. And they do it targeted to a specific area most of the time to try to get that, especially with
Isn't it
radiation.
normally to like a mass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, if it's what is called metastasized, and any of those cancer cells that's left off and gone around the body and is now attached to another part you're pretty much gone.
Right.
There's not a lot you can do. And if they can remove all of it before that happens, then you're safe. But if it's rapid enough, like melatomas, they're pretty fucking fast. Like they'll go from your skin. Melanoma is melanin, is a specific type of pigment cell. If that cell is cancerous, you'll actually start to see like a mole forming, and that's why if you see a mole, see your doctor, make sure that they can, monitor that. Okay, don't be hypochondriac about it, but they have found that if you have a melanoma that is metastasized, they'll actually find pigment cells in your brain. So there will be like dark spots on your brain where there shouldn't be. It's like that's how bad cancer is.
I got a question.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's kind of related to cancer and
Okay.
death.
Oh.
Is it my ex-girlfriend?
Close.
No,
Okay.
she's a
I feel
bitch.
like autotune in a way is still on because some notes like I hear in a weird flat. It's not.
Is there an
but-
orange cube where the electron thing
No,
is?
it's not.
Okay.
That's why it's sketchy.
Okay.
But this has also been bugging out.
Okay, what's your question?
Anyways, I know we're talking about like. I know we were talking. I know we're talking about. I was trying to articulate what I was going to say. So I know we were talking about death earlier.
Yeah,
And
of course.
I'm
Yeah,
kind
embrace
of thinking
favorite.
of, would you rather? Kind of thing.
Ooh.
Okay.
Would you rather
Die of cancer.
have your parents die from cancer? That's a
Oh
good question.
shit!
Holy
Or
shit,
suddenly?
Suddenly.
And
Suddenly.
Why?
Suddenly. I don't want to have to
So-
live for the rest of my life seeing my parents suffer through an illness that they eventually die from. I'd
But-
rather just the sudden, they're gone.
But you don't get to say goodbye.
I understand
to
there's no closure, but I don't want to. It's selfish of me to be like, yeah, I'd rather you torture to death so that I get closure versus a quick death.
them. What if they go through a lot of suffering but have a chance to live? Add on to that question.
I think I would try to find some way to create a better treatment than the ones that we have now, because the ones we have now are shit. It's like trying to take a shotgun to a bunny. Yeah, good luck getting meat off of it, you fucking dumbass.
Okay. I honestly think that I would rather have them just go suddenly, just because I've had both sides of it.
Yeah.
Is someone going suddenly and then someone kind of slowly decaying over time.
It's so tough.
Okay, but at the same time, watching someone slowly decay is kind of better in a sense. No, so it's harder in the long run. Both just as hard, but it's a lot different because
your last memories of them while they're sick, you'll only remember the bad times.
no,
at
you
the
don't.
end.
You don't.
You don't.
Mm-mm.
You don't remember the bad
because
times.
I watched
think I would.
I watched my grandmother just decay as time went on.
Okay.
And-
so fucking silly. I'm sorry. It's distracting me.
I'll see it in 8 seconds. We'll see.
I'd rather watch. I don't know. That's a good question. Fuck.
I was picking my ear.
Damn, dude. That's
Hey, I had
Yeah, I
to.
was
It was getting
wondering why you were
super
doing
fucking
that.
itchy.
mm.
Like
Yeah,
I
the
must-
headphone, like
I must
any
have some
headphones will
kind
do
of
that.
like earwax condition because I produce
It
so
builds up
much.
heat and humidity.
It could be because I'm stressed. Cortisol
Sweat.
levels increase.
Your
the level
ears
of
sweat, by the way.
Mhm.
Did you know that?
What?
Yeah.
Your ears
Ears
sweat,
sweat.
too, so it'll cause it.
On the inside or the outside?
I think a little
I
bit.
believe a little bit on the
Yeah.
inside.
I think you have.
It's
something.
not like
Maybe-
the
it's not like
variant or-
drips of sweat.
Maybe
It's,
like lubricant.
Yeah.
Like the one. Well, because sweat plays the most important role that sweat plays is the evaporation of itself to cool you off. So as water evaporates, it cools you off. That's the main reason. The second reason is it actually gives off pheromones. So like with dogs, you know how they sniff each other's butts. That's actually they're not sniffing the butt. They're sniffing. Well, yeah, it's a part of the body, but they're sniffing the pheromones that are given off by what is called the anal gland. because those pheromones tells that dog, is it a healthy dog? Is it an anxious dog? Is it an aggressive dog? They get so much information off the pheromones that it's given off. We also give off pheromones, but we just don't understand. I mean, when someone's like really sweaty, bad BO, you know that they're probably nervous. But otherwise, we don't understand all the levels of what the pheromones mean. And what I think is interesting is when you get married, there are times where, like, you know, your wife has a cycle, period ovulation kind of thing. There are times where I'll notice that I just keep getting horny for no fucking reason.
It's because you have to poop.
This may have happened to you before. And you want to know what it is? I'll be like, I don't know why, but and she's like, I'm ovulating. And for some reason, I think men, we don't know how this fucking magic works, but for some reason we can smell it and we immediately are like, yeah, I'm ready. Fuck, let's go. But we don't know why. So it's...
But okay, I want to talk about this. Have you guys felt horny right before needing to poop?
No.
Ever?
No.
Okay. I guess I'm weird.
No. Oh, yeah, something's about to come through my ass. Oh, my God, yeah.
The thing is... not quite like that. You don't feel the poop coming yet. But like 10 minutes later after you've been horny, like 10 to 15 minutes later, you're like, shit, I got
some of the same muscles you use are similar to a boner. But
I think the next time you guys poop, like try to notice if you're horny.
So to the girls out there, if you've ever seen a guy naked, you may know this. A guy can actually move his dick up, but how he does that is he puckers his asshole. You have to pucker your asshole to get your dick to move up.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you kind of do.
Yeah. Like how you actually do. That's probably why you get a boner, is because the muscles are getting ready, and that's, you know, when a guy flexes it like that, it does get bigger. It's like the same thing when you sleep on your stomach for a guy. When the penis is pressed up again and there's pressure there,
we also have a prostate too. That it could be bumping.
True,
maybe
but the prostate
your
doesn't really have a
prostate
muscle
is just
in it.
really sensitive.
Yeah, it's like,
and it pushes on it. It's like,
that piece of corn on that piece of shit. I haven't been touched in years.
Have you guys had like really nice poops and it feels really good?
It's typically after eating salad.
Eating
salad. That's not your prostate. That's not your fucking prostate.
That's just the relief.
You feel it more because of your prostate. The bigger your poop is, anyway.
You know the poops where it comes out and you don't have to fucking wipe? Like, you do it like a test wipe just to make sure.
I fucking love that.
If I eat just iceberg lettuce salad, I can eat it with dressing or cheese or whatever. If I just eat a whole bunch of salad in a day, if I eat a whole bunch of salad in a day, I have those poops all the time. And if I just eat salad, like a whole bunch of salad, good poops. I didn't have to wipe my ass for like a week because I was on like a salad binge. I didn't have to wipe my ass for a fucking week. I did anyway, but
yeah, just to make sure.
It was the good poops. It's like, oh, this is great. And then eventually I got tired of salad. I'm like, well, now I'm back to the normal shits. It's probably just the fiber. If you eat a whole bunch of fiber, it gets better. Have you tried the corn trick yet?
I have not.
You should try it.
And then we can talk about it.
I believe that there was actually someone watching.
Yeah,
but it didn't have
commented
recently. It's probably Caitlin, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's still one current viewer. So Brandon here wanted me to do this.
And I think we addressed it last week. So what I said is, if you want to know how fast your digestion system is, consume a lot of corn.
They left once we started talking about
poop. And right when you consume the corn, start a clock or keep track of when you ate or consume that corn. And then whenever you see it in your shit later, because you can't digest corn, you know how long it takes you to go from eating to shitting. And it's a good thing to know, because if it is really 3 or 4 days, you have a problem, you really need to contact a doctor. You really fucking should if it's 3 or 4 fucking days.
Okay, but I've always been like that.
You should still contact a fucking doctor.
I have already been to the doctor about it.
If it's a chronic issue, then it's really fucking bad.
Well, then
because you're gonna fuck up your colon. Is what that is.
Fingers fucking crossed, my guy.
Like a fucked up colon.
I want to die.
You know how many polyps you have?
What is that?
So whenever you get a colonoscopy later on in the years,
Bumps.
these polyps are basically non-cancerous things that they have to go in and they have to snip out. If you
I
have,
thought you said sniff.
So we are pretty close to dogs.
so colon,
Fuck chimpanzees, like we're closer to the dog.
I'm becoming a doctor now.
so they sniff them out, and what they've noticed is that eating certain foods leads to an increase in polyps. They don't understand the full, because with food, how the fuck are you supposed to know that, they eat this and then this and this, unless someone is really anal about their fucking diary about what they consume a day. You're never going to be able to understand what leads to what and what is concerning what unless one person only consumes one meal a day for the rest of their entire life. And that meal's probably not very fucking good alone, but you still don't know whether or not it leads to it. Anyway, if you have long poops, I think it actually leads to the development of more polyps. So you should probably get a colonoscopy sooner rather than later in the age.
What is that exactly?
A colonoscopy, as Justin would know because he woke up during one.
It's where they stick something up your ass, right?
First, they have you go home and consume a large amount of laxative so that you shit your system out so that they can actually see because they're sticking a camera up your butt and they're looking around your colon to see, are there lacerations that you need to be concerned about, certain cancers that you might be concerned about, and it's just a screening test. They'll go out, they'll cut all the polyps out, and then they'll just take pictures as they go. And I believe they only do the colon, which is the large intestine is the other name for it, which isn't very long. And so they just basically go all the way along and then they're like, okay, you're good. Or that's bad. And they'll figure that out. But yeah, most of the time it shouldn't take that long. So you need to do that test. And at home you can do that test. It's very fucking easy. Easy experiment. Kind of fun too to know how quick it is from eating to shitting.
Stick it up your ass. Oh, okay.
It's kind of fun to stick the can of corn up your ass. How long will it take you to shit it?
Why not just a gerbil?
I legit thought you were talking about being able to do it yourself.
Mr. Slave.
Huh?
That's where that's from.
What?
South Park. Mr. Slave sticks a gerbil up his ass. That's where that came from. Yeah. And as being Mr. Garrison. Yeah. All right, kids. We're going to learn about the human anatomy. Today, I'm going to stick a gerbil up Mr. Slave's ass.
Is the mic eating your hair too?
No. Just my hair eating itself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Wait. Yeah, any further questions before we leave?
I had them.
What's the meaning of life?
Shut the fuck up.
Wait, I had a fucking answer to that.
Oh, you do?
You did.
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Oh, didn't you say it one time?
It's on my phone. Okay. You can pull it up on Google Docs. Just type in Google Docs.
I can't believe you actually have it.
Pull it up on
They
Google
just
Docs.
left. We've actually had a lot of viewers.
Google Docs.
I think we've had 5 viewers.
Got a couple likes.
So
too.
it's
Yeah.
not refined in any way, and I'm not a genius. Don't take it with take it with a grain of salt.
Forward.
Down. That one. What is the meaning of life?
Huh.
The short paragraph. So I was plagued with this question. It just popped up in my head, and you hear it all the time. You dismiss it. You're like, okay, yeah, whatever. We'll never know, kind of thing.
Jesus Christ.
And for some reason, I was like, no, you know what? Fuck it. I need to find what my answer is. And it had to, whenever I was trying to work through some parts of my depression, it was kind of like a healing mechanism for me to have some insight about, why the fuck am I even here? So I just started writing, and this is what I came up with. So if you want to pull it up.
Oh.
Nice.
Will that
2.
work?
Yeah, it works. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I came up with,
What is
and
the
I'll
meaning of
read it
life?
out just in case you're not actually watching the video.
And for Austin's sake.
Yes.
Yes,
So
please.
it's titled "What is the meaning to life?" and I didn't really do any edits. I just wrote it down, so don't hurt me.
Make fun of him, please.
Yeah.
Please roast.
So, time is the foundation and boundary to all life. We are shaped by time, taught by it, healed by it, and in all cases, we run out of it. Time is a wanted friend and an unwanted adversary. Time is what sets us from the moment that we are conceived to the time that death strikes. Many choose to waste time as if it were their possession that they controlled. only to find out that their grip was false. Time is seemingly an infinite quantity, yet it runs out for us who obey its law. We blame time whilst begging and needing more from it. Time, a concept so universal that is recognized by every culture, language, and nation as though... Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. As though it is one thing that God had left untouched in the Tower of Babel. In order to understand the meaning to life, we must understand time. To this question I answer, the meaning of life is to pursue all things or beings that exist beyond the law of time.
Okay, Jordan Peterson.
Fuck you. I didn't consume any weed, by the way. This was not a trip. This was just like...
No shrooms?
No.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was. Very, like, philosophical.
Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes I have my moments.
You do.
Sometimes I'm
You do.
good. Sometimes I'm an asshole. But,
dumbass.
yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh. Because
What?
your face is hidden. Or it's hiding.
So-
but you read
We
it.
have another viewer.
Anyway.
Hello.
What did you just go? Hurrah! Anyway, to conclude that, now that you know what I think the meaning to life is, or at least from my point of view, then you take with what you will. Is there anything else?
There was one question that I wanted to ask, and now I
Okay,
gotta...
it'll have to be the last one.
Yeah,
if
I
you
gotta
can think of it.
I gotta try to remember it. Fuck. There's like a pretty like
Deep
deep
one.
question that I was gonna ask, but we've gone and fucking X, Y, and Z off the wall
because
kind of
Justin
shit.
just nonchalantly like, "What's the meaning of life?" I'm like, "I have an answer."
And then I talked about poop.
Yeah, and then you
We went
just
from
randomly
poop to
talked
the
about
meaning of
it.
life.
Yeah.
The meaning to life is the shit.
I'm great at sidetracking. That's my
Apparently,
motto.
Yeah.
Fuck. Don't look at me like that. It's a very seductive look.
I don't know why fuck me.
Fuck
know
you.
why
I
it's
always
bite,
say
fuck.
bit bottom lip. So I
Bit.
went bot.
Bit bottom lip.
I
Bit
bit.
bot-
I
that
don't
sounds like
know
a
why.
song.
Bit
I
bot
don't
lip.
know why I bit my
lip.
bottom, my whole entire bottom. Fuck me!
I think we're fucking him up.
I'm also tired.
Bit bottom lip. Bit.
Bit
I
bottom
don't
lip.
know why I bit my entire bottom lip instead of just part of it. You know
You
how
did
bite
it, guys.
like that. You know, it's Justin,
so
fuck
fucking
you.
old.
Fuck you.
Do it again. Do it again.
No, fuck
Just
you.
for the camera.
I went like that before, but
It was better the first time. Well, you'll
Still
see
what
it.
it-
You'll
still-
see it come
still
on.
what am I-
I exaggerated the biting of the bottom. I was more like,
It looks so fucking.
I was more like
Ah,
that kind of thing.
It'll pop up eventually. Man,
Well, I
that's
don't
funny.
want to. Do you remember the question?
No, I don't.
We could maybe save it for another time if you
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah, if I remember it, but
Don't bring it
We'll
up
see.
until the next podcast.
I won't.
You're very good at finding questions after. The
I
podcast.
am very good at finding questions.
So while we
afterwards.
fish,
He did
don't
it.
don't fucking talk to me. Don't fucking talk to me. When we fish, don't talk to me. We got to come up with material.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, go back to the YouTube so we know when to end the stream,
Yeah.
because that's what's going to tell us when to end it, because when you end it, it'll be right there. So
like, I can end it here even.
yeah, I think
I don't know.
I would go back, even if there's like an awkward pause. That's fine, because I want to try this outro. I haven't memorized it though.
Okay. All right, let's
So-
hear.
All right, because before every single episode, if you've watched any of them, which I doubt that most people have,
Yeah.
is Justin will just hit the end stream button, and we haven't had an outro, so it'll just be going, and then it'll stop.
Yeah.
Now
That's
I'm-
actually pretty great.
I
though.
tried to come up with an outro. We can see if whether or not it works, and I haven't
Okay.
memorized it, so I'm going to be looking down a little bit.
All right.
Hold on, let me read.
He's like, shit, I gotta try to remember this.
All right. So that concludes our episode of the Midnite Snak podcast. Hopefully, we've provided you the goods to keep you up at night. See how I wrap it up in a little bit. Yeah. I don't have a mustache to twirl anymore. If not, I guess rewatch it when you wake up, you weak bastard. Until next time, stay sexy, bitches. Now we have to sit here awkwardly and come up with an outro. We can see if whether or not.
Wait, yeah, just listen to it and then
memorize it.
go back.
Looking down a little bit.
Go back to the other thing.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me read.
He's like, oh, shit, I gotta try to remember this.
All right. So that concludes our episode of the Midnight Snak
That's
podcast.
kinda trippy.
Hopefully, we've provided you the goods to keep you up at night. See how I wrap it up in a little bit. Yeah. I don't have a mustache to twirl anymore. If not, I guess rewatch it.